with a yes, yes. Of the UK, the courage of the UK. Pushing my cam to the limits. I'm standing right here in a crowd, or in London town. One gen meteor, walking the streets with a yes, yes. Keeping the faith in a crowded place. Gotta realize, all the MSM realize, no mics in faces. I'm standing right here, ready with questions. Give me your answers. One generation media, first generation of true media. Needed everywhere with my real life. No one feeding me lies. Talking points are nothing for a self-made journal. I'm your YouTube, you know it's pretty sick. Gotta realize, all the MSM realize, bringing you the news that the legacy refuse. One generation media, first generation of true media. Needed everywhere with my real lies. First person view, reporting of current affairs. I am one generation media, and this is my media. One gen media, walking the streets with a yes, yes. Holding a mic to the voiceless, shining a light on the silencers, keeping our speech free in the UK. I am one generation media, and they use us as cogs in a wheel that they can't live without. Imagine if it all stopped spinning. Gotta find a way to unite, gotta keep up the fight. I am one generation media, and I am one generation media, and I am one generation media, and this is my media. Yeah, this is my media.
Welcome back to the channel, everybody. We're joined today by Zen and Lieutenant.
And
Lieutenant
sausage. She's
Payne
making
and
a guess.
sausage again.
She decided to join at the last minute.
Well, I
It would be criminal to have no sausage.
I know. She's like, hi everyone, so there's a show about to start. I'm joining in.
She's gorgeous. Oh, I like the colours on your hair there, Zen.
Thank you. Got all fixed up now. So yeah, this is how I'm happy with it. I wanted more blonde and a little bit like lilac for the summer. So yeah, I'm happy with it now. But so I give it a week and the black roots will be showing through. So I've got 2 weeks of happiness.
What happened to the volume? I'm sure it was like very big.
Oh, it just needs
wasn't
it. Like, yeah, well, because the first day I heatless curl it, it'll be up there, and every day it's hair wash day tomorrow. Not today. It takes too much.
How you doing, Lieutenant? You joined us very late there, just over the finish line during the song.
I know, I was busy looking at something else. I've had like one thing after another today after, you know, everything I've been trying to get done. And then I saw your message, so I thought, right, I'll get on this straight away.
Well, I'll say it's really last minute, to be fair. I mean, I've even asked RBM to join us, and I don't think he's even seen the message yet because he's probably on the PlayStation. But hopefully,
might be knackered. You've had a big weekend, haven't you?
I'll say hopefully he'll come in and join us later. Yeah, I think I'm ill. Just Roman's in the chat. Welcome, Roman. Good to see you. Anybody else in the chat? Drop a message.
Nice.
Yeah, I'm still not well. So I don't know if you can tell by my voice. I'm trying to shout at the camera so you can hear me, but I've had a throat issue for a couple of days now, and went to Manchester.
Shouting at the protest. Didn't help.
I couldn't do much shouting, but I tried to do a bit. But I mean, both of you have seen my video. I take it from Manchester, have you?
Yeah. Are we going to go over it again?
Well, I haven't got it to show. First, I was just going to discuss it because basically the title of the show, it's about what happened. I mean, I'm sure everyone that's going to come in here probably has seen something, you know, on X or on YouTube from the event. So everyone knows, I guess, what's happened. But because you two, I guess, have seen it, hopefully.
I watched you. We was modding for you up until something happened, and your live stream was just like loop de loop de loop. So then I I did do the right thing, and I messaged her, but I had to jump over to RBM, Real British Media's one to catch up what was going on.
Yeah, the live stream was a disaster in my opinion. It doesn't.
It wasn't your fault though. Like I said, some places you go, and like with when we've been to 420, they put something to stop the live streaming, to jam the signals. So it's not your fault.
Well, I mean, I managed to get a video up anyway to give you an idea of what's happened, but it is going all over X, and there's a lot of videos from other people on YouTube about it.
Lucky you didn't get egged, really, wasn't it?
I don't even know if the egg flew by me or not. I mean, there was a bottle that landed close to me. I remember that. But
well, there was bottles being thrown.
Yeah, that's what first started happening. There was a few bottles thrown, and I didn't even know about the eggs because I was on the other side of the statue, wasn't I, trying to get the footage.
It's not a peaceful protest, is it? If you're throwing things and chanting horrible things, it's not peaceful. Like everyone, my opinion, everyone except the nonsense people have a right to peaceful protest. Everyone's free speech matters. You're allowed to, in my opinion, you're allowed to say your opinion as long as you're not inciting. You know, if you do defamation, people are going to sue you, and if you do incite violence, you should get arrested. But apart from that, you should be able to have your opinion.
Yeah, we do have a right to peaceful protest in this country, and that's exactly what we were trying to do. I mean, I've seen I've been going over other clips and other footage, and you can see in pretty much every clip where the aggressive crowd were and where the peaceful crowd were and what side they were on, obviously.
I couldn't make out what they were saying.
I say we were on the right side of the crowd, but yeah, I say the main discussion. I mean, I was actually disgusted at the the way things they were shouting, especially during the speeches of the survivors. I mean, at least at that point, they could have listened and showed a bit of respect, but they didn't shut up throughout the whole of it, which I found quite disappointing, even though we all know what they're like. But if you've watched stuff on my channel, I don't usually, take interest in the opposition and those kind of protests. I usually just focus on stuff that's important for Britain and important in Britain, things that's doing good for the country. So it was probably my first experience of that mob, even though I've seen a lot of them online, watched them before, etc., etc.
I think it's really disturbing when you see them because, you hear that, like, they stand in the way of trying to do the right thing as an adult human being in this land. One of your top priorities is ensuring the safeguarding and the safe passage of every child as best as you can in your own capacity, right? And they stand in the way of that. But what I think for me, watching it through your lens, I was just like repulsed. So I can only imagine what it's like for you when you were right in the middle of them, Dave, up on that thing.
You can't knock RBM and OGM right in the middle of it.
Yeah, that was. I mean,
upset you, because it's disgusting. And that guy in the red checked shirt, I just wanted to throttle him the way he was screaming in someone's ear. And those community officers were doing nothing about it. Like, that's a violation. He could have bust someone's eardrum the way he was screaming.
Well, it was that loud. You can probably hear it on the sound.
Oh yeah,
that loud. It was making it crackly. But I mean, going back to it, that's the thing. When we first got there, I thought I'd try and cover both sides, stay a bit neutral to begin with, because when we got there originally, it wasn't that aggressive. And obviously, we talked to a few people. And then Thomas, that's his name, if that was the boy you're talking about from Speaker's Corner, young Bob.
Yeah.
He said he'd already been kicked out and turfed away from they have their Islamic tents in the town centres where they give the Quran out and that sort of stuff. He'd already tried earlier with them and got taken away by the police. So really, he wanted to engage and have a normal conversation, which again I would have done as well. Do you know what I mean? So I agreed to go in there with him, and what you saw was just absolutely. I mean, it wasn't shocking. I can't say it was shocking because we all know that you can't have a conversation with these people. The one thing I take away from listening to Nick Tanconi is the 12-second rule. If they're not going to have a debate after 12 seconds, it's best just to not bother, because
I don't see why they don't want to talk. Like,
they probably haven't got the upstairs.
I like to see all the different sides. I like to know what's going on. Like I want to talk to people like you, because you can get a greater understanding for both. But now it seems like they don't want people talking. They don't want people having conversations, which I don't like.
Yeah, so we'll continue this in a sec, but just a comment that Roman's put on the screen about the cop that pushed Nick back. When we arrived, after I spoke to the organisers, that particular cop, if it's the one that was wearing blue, if memory serves me right, he was the police liaison officer that we got given, you know, for the event. Apparently, he was an ex-military, joined the police force that way, is what I was told. Yeah, and they'd arranged, you know, before everyone kind of arrived, to create the space with the barriers. If you saw the barriers that were in Piccadilly Gardens in Manchester, you know, to obviously keep everyone safe and keep the area secure. I say, and then going back to what you said about when we went into the crowd, that's the thing. There was literally 2 coachloads of the mob, as you call them, turn up with all their signs and everything. You know, it just got completely aggressive from that point onwards. I mean,
where did they get a coach from?
Well, this is the thing. I mean, everyone says they're a paid mob. You know, there's a lot of different unions, I think, together, and socialist parties, etc., etc. But I mean, somebody witnessed them getting off of 2 coaches, so it proves even more that they're paid and funded. I mean, all their signs, etc., etc. You know, they're made up on the day, aren't they? Or they're given to them. They always collect them afterwards.
They were the same as the ones in Finchley.
Yeah, exactly. There's always funding behind it. I mean, I've seen in London, they leave them on the sides of the street, don't they, in the mornings for them to pick up and use. But I say, to actually have that kind of a counter protest against, you know, survivors of, I'll have to say SA on YouTube, but I'm sure you all know what I'm talking about. You know, and the courage that they show each time they get up on stage. You know, I mean, some of the stories are heartbreaking, honestly. I mean, I know on my footage you might not have been able to hear everything they were saying, but if you go over to my ex, you'll find, you know, videos of all the speeches, etc., etc. And I say they should have had some respect, especially during that point, you know. But all they were interested in.
It takes a lot to come forward. And,
yep.
Sorry to interrupt you, Dave. It takes a lot to come forward and talk about these things, even in a secure environment, you know, like, say, a women's group or something like that, let alone standing there in public with a blooming microphone, talking to anyone and everyone, and the police are supposed to keep you safe. And, you know, it's disgusting. Like what you're saying, you know, the title of your video about Greater Manchester Police Blunder. I mean, it's beyond a blunder, really, isn't it? I think you've been really polite, to be honest with you. If the Greater Manchester Police or the Met or any of these police forces up and down the country were worth their salt, they'd be following the paper trail of who's behind these paid groups. But they're not. I mean, or it doesn't seem as though they are.
It always seems like they're protected. I mean, you know, they're never getting any trouble in. I mean, you saw actually in Manchester lots of instances where they should have been arrested for what they were doing, throwing missiles at people, throwing eggs at people. Some of the things they were shouting. I mean, you look at that bloke that you mentioned shouting in the ear of young Thomas, 16-year-old boy. Do you know what I mean? Yet, if you stand within a metre of him, if you saw earlier on in the video clip, you know, please get away from me. You know, you're causing me, what is it? Stress and distress and alarm. That's it. And I'm thinking, and then also that guy that was screaming. Do you remember the copper that was speaking to Thomas? He said, "Do you mind not shouting in my ear?" And he went, "Oh, I'm not shouting in you. I'm shouting in his ear." So he's actually showed his own intent as to what he's going to do. So I mean, nothing happened to him. Nothing happened to the people throwing bottles and eggs. There was.
What about the officer that pushed the Nick Tenconi? Is he going to get? Because that was a bit. What's it called? It wasn't. I didn't think it was.
I thought it was
reasonable force. That's it.
Yeah. It wasn't reasonable force. I mean, within that barriered area, I feel that they've got a right to stay within that area. I'm talking about Nick Tenconi, the speakers, etc., etc. That area was made for their safety. Do you know what I mean? It was only when he went to the other side, which was nearer to the the commie lefties, that the police were kind of getting a bit more forceful. Now, I always have in the back of my head, you know, they always say, "Oh, it's for your own safety." You know, they always seem to turf out the one Christian from Speaker's Corner, don't they? As opposed to all the others, you know, that are being aggressive towards that one person. And in a way, you can see that might be their directions from above, if you want to call it anything, to diffuse the situation. But the way they acted, you know what I mean? I mean, there's even other witness statements, you know, for example, Sydney, you know, the girl that's mum got arrested. You know, she was even telling the police who threw the bottle, you know, why is nothing happening? And I think the copper even said on one of the streams, no one's getting arrested. Do you know what I mean? When she said that and mentioned that. So that's why I think things got a bit heated, because then it was like, well, what about the arrests for the, you know, on our side for literally nothing?
Well,
you know, it wasn't a crime, an offence.
It's supposed to be a
here's the thing,
peaceful
right?
protest. So throwing and launching missiles and objects, I don't care what side it was, whoever did that needs to be arrested, because they're ruining the whole point of of a peaceful protest. Because then it just annoys me, because if people start trouble, I don't really care what side they start the trouble on, but it's just going to give the other powers that be more of an excuse to say no more protest. It's not going to work out, if you get what I mean.
Yes, I just quickly welcome to
The
the
thing
chat.
is, I think
Hello and everyone. Sorry, we've got people in the comments.
Oh yeah, I always forget to turn the
Vanessa,
comments on. Sorry.
So I can't see all the messages because I've got this referral thing on StreamYard now. But yeah, no, he just brought up the point about the masks. I mean, yeah, they came in masks as well. I mean, you know, concealing their identity. They're obviously Antifa. You know, this other group. I mean, a couple of them admitted it as well. And also, I mean, if anyone can correct me in comments, or if you, Lieutenant, or Zen know any different, I mean, when we have a protest in this country, you are legally allowed to have a counter protest, but I'm sure there's a rule or a law, not a law, but probably a rule, that says the counter protest has to be a certain distance away. I can't remember what the actual distance is, but I'm sure it's a minimum of 200 metres or something.
I don't know about the specifics of that, but I do know that the police are supposed to manage it for sure. So there is supposed to be some kind of imaginary gulf, if you like, right? They are supposed to be kept separated to prevent any bother. So it's up to the police to manage that, because I don't think you can do a specific distance because of the logistics. Like, most of our towns and cities are old and made for the old horse and cart, right? They're quite narrow. So you can't like really put it, it depends on where you are in each town. And so I think when they're going to make a law that's going to cover everywhere in the country, I'm not sure they would get away with a specific distance, but certainly I think they would use possibly the word reasonable, right? Because they can play with the word reasonable, because reasonable is then whatever they deem as reasonable, isn't it? The police. So I think that it would be like that. But also, going back to what you were saying, I hope you don't mind if I go back there. What you were saying about how they deal with things like at Speaker's Corner, right? Like one Christian gets carted off, while all the aggressive, to say the very least, non-Christians get the stay at Speaker's Corner. That actually flies in the face of the Speaker's Corner regulations, which I went through on numerous occasions on the Big Nose of London channel. Like, I dug it up and we discussed it in numerous live streams, and he even took the regulations to the police at Speaker's Corner. And the regulations, because it's royal parks, they're totally different to any other park in the UK. It's not public land at all. It's all belongs to the king, and we have the privilege of using that land because he keeps the doors on it open. He can close them whenever he wants. So the Secretary of State is the one who executes the rules on it, and the rules are, there's not much difference between the policing of the parks and the policing of the rest of the UK. It's the same police force. It used to have its own separate police force, but it's all merged into the Met now. And the rules, therefore, where you've got some kind of gathering and someone isn't causing any problems, but a majority are, it doesn't matter who's causing the problem and how many, it's the ones that are causing the problem that should be removed. According to the regulations, if you are made to feel uncomfortable in any way, you can turn to an officer and he can have those people who are making you feel uncomfortable. Obviously, it's not like, oh, they looked at me wrong, sort of thing, right? There has to be something serious. But ultimately, the people who've made you feel uncomfortable have to be removed. That is in black and white in the parks regulations, and that's all across the board in the UK. So I think the fact that they're under-resourced is a poor excuse, because if they're under-resourced and you've got the likes of Sadiq Khan saying, right, well, I'm going to police royal parks less, that's what he's just done recently, something needs to be done about that, as opposed to a lot of aggressors need to, should be getting away with it and peaceful people should be carted off. It's just turning it completely upside down, isn't it? It's inverting it. So there is regulations that, no, it flies in the face of how they're actually policing it, where they're taking away the good people. They should be taking away the aggressors.
Well, yeah,
Or at least have an exclusion. I would have, or at least there should be something like an exclusion zone. You know, if you get caught making, you know, trouble, if they haven't got the powers to arrest them all on that day, they should have to get 200 meters away from everything. And if they're caught again, then I don't know, fine. They love throwing out fines around, so why don't they throw out some fines or something?
Yeah,
There needs to be more done to, like, and it's not just to, I'm not saying it needs to be more done so people can have a peaceful protest. But the way it's gone now, you can't even walk, you can't talk to other people. Even when we went up the Finchley one, just trying to say, oh, what's this about? They were just screaming in my face, chanting. So
that's the thing. You just can't seem to have a logical conversation with them any of the time. Yeah, it's just ridiculous. I mean, it started off with us trying to get some info like that, but I say we knew that they were going to come and counter protest. I say Roman put that comment up there, didn't he? It was about the protecting of our children. Exactly. I mean, they were trying to make it a racist thing. They were calling us far right. You know, shoot yourself like Adolf Hitler. All the usual charms.
yeah, they were trying.
Like, it's just I wasn't shocked because you expect it from them, but you know, the fact that they're counter-protesting a good cause, a cause that's trying to raise awareness, a very important cause, just beggars belief. Do you know what I mean? If it's a you know St George's Day counter-protest or something against Britain because they hate the country, which is usually what they come out for, you know, you'd expect it. But the fact it was a very important subject was the first thing that kind of got me. But the thing that kind of got me more was why the police support them and not these other, you know, not us, you know, the side that we were on. I mean, that.
Or the disrespect of the people. Like, I can understand in some points of view if they wanted to shout over some of the more well-known speakers, blah, blah, blah. But when the real people come up and told their heartfelt stories, they didn't even have the decency just to shush then. And if it was the other way round, you know, they'd feel away as well.
I mean, I can't remember.
It's hypocrisy at its finest.
I can't remember all the names of the speakers offhand, but I mean, two that come to mind every time is Alan Merritt and Sidney Jones. I mean, both their stories, really touching stories. You know, the first time, I think the first one I was at in London, I think that was Sydney's first time of telling her story. Do you know what I mean? So this was only her second time of telling her story as well. Alan Merritt, he may have told his story more, but his story, you know, as bad as all the others, but you know, he's got a lot of information and tells his story with quite a full picture. Do you know what I mean? With all his photos, etc., from when he was younger and this, that, and the other. And you know, people don't know these stories because of all the censoring we get online. The social media cover up the words we're not allowed to say and use. Do you know what I mean? They just cover it under the carpet all the time. They just sweep it away, and people just don't realise, you know, the gravity and the seriousness of what they're trying to actually get justice for, you know, bring people to justice. Now, when it goes on to the Greater Manchester Police, I mean, I'm obviously not from Manchester, but they've been in the news a lot recently, haven't they? Because they're knee deep in it for the Rotherham grooming gangs, am I right? Also, the police force that came out recently and said they weren't taking on any more white people, is that right? They're just taking on people for new jobs from ethnic minorities and you know, other cultures.
Where was that? I didn't hear that.
Greater Manchester Police. I think it's, you know, they've been in the news recently. They're involved in the Rotherham, aren't they? Grooming scandal, withholding information. They were the same police force that went round on all those clips. Do you remember when the fathers went to rescue their girls and they said, oh, they're intoxicated, and they took the fathers away? Do you remember? That was again.
Yeah, they said the girls. They blamed the girls and things like that.
Yeah, that's the thing. So I mean, they're knee deep in it already, and I mean, if anything, with all the cameras we had there, etc., today might have been a chance to show another side, but I didn't see it. You know, I didn't see it at all. I just saw them getting protected. You know, the aggressors being protected, and
yeah, I think Greater Manchester Police, along with a number of police, whether it's stations or forces entirely, are under special measures. I know Charing Cross in London, it's the Met, but that specific station is under special measures. as is Cleveland Police. I think Northumbria were at one point. I think they should be all the time, to be honest with you. But Cleveland are supposedly one of the worst. But Greater Manchester Police, yeah, something happened in the past couple of years where there was a few forces that were listed that are under special measures, and I think they are because of all of that corruption and beyond. Do you know what I mean?
There are a lot of forces, I think, that are involved. I mean, there has been, you know,
It's countrywide, and I don't understand how anyone who's got two brain cells knocking together would begrudge like an inquiry not into anyone that was involved, like across the board. Anyone, doesn't matter, culture, race, religion, anything like that. Anyone that was involved should be held accountable and justice should be served. And I don't understand what the problem is.
And hopefully there will be
I think that's quite a few of us are like that.
Mm-hmm. I say hopefully there will be a nationwide inquiry. I don't know what's happening with the Rupert Lowe one now. I mean, it doesn't seem to have as
but
much.
They don't with the other kind. Sorry, not the one that you just said. There's the one that the Rupert Lowe. They're not forced to come and speak though, are they? Like a more serious one. So it's all once again, and even some of them that were going to speak, they're hardly going to confess to being an absolute nonsense, and all their friends are nonsenses, and they've been up to a load of nonsense business, getting backhanders for the nonsense for years, are they?
Well, exactly, but it's going to take a lot of money, and it's actually going to take a proper job. I mean, the government could pay for it, you know, easily. You can see how much money they're giving away to foreign countries, so they could have took half.
I often wonder whether I often wonder whether the way forward would be to bring the military in to investigate them all, because it doesn't matter whether it's an inquiry, an investigation, whatever, everything gets swept under the rug.
It's funny.
Most of them get away with something. They'll use the odd one in the press to make you feel as though something got done. But no, most of them will just be demoted or moved to a BS role here or there. Do you know what I mean? But they'll get away with it, basically.
I'm glad
you
mentioned the military, because I mean, it'd be nice for them to come in and do something. But I'm bringing out a video probably tomorrow explaining what's happening in 3 weeks' time, where Starmer's pretty much giving the control of our military to Brussels, to the EU. So look out for that video, because
we are cooked.
There is a petition going around on X. I have shared it today. So I mean, if everyone can just, you know, start writing their name on that petition. But after I bring the video out tomorrow, hopefully it will be explained a bit more clearly as to how and why this is happening. But I say it's been going on for a little while now. He's already given away our fishing rights for this, and he's now going to give away our military. So if Germany, for example, you know, Spain and Turkey want to go and invade, not invade, but want to go and fight for Ukraine, they just decide that's it, we're going to Ukraine. But wait till I bring out the video and it'll explain it more tomorrow. But again, it's a really serious thing that's happening, and we need to sign that petition.
How does he have to? I know he's the Prime Minister, but honestly, how does one little man have the power to give away all our fishing rights?
Because they got the majority in government.
We were talking about this the other day, and I said it's like Gordon Brown and our gold, isn't it, years ago? How do they have the authority? Where's his authority to do this?
That's true.
In fact, what can we get? And after a few years, can we get them back, or is it like a done deal now?
Well, obviously it's a done deal once it's just like signing a contract, isn't it? I suppose with them. But he's going over to Portugal to do it. But hold out for the video tomorrow, because I've got it explained by Simon Beans. So are you gonna? So if it's under our fishing laws, then doesn't that mean that that's under like our sort of the fish are supposed to be under our protection as well? But now that was why we had Brexit, you see, and you know Brexit hasn't been done properly, but that was one of the things to Brexit was we got. It wasn't say his name again, Nigel Farage. Or you say? Say the way you say. I can't. The way you say his name. I didn't say Nigel Farage, did I? No, the way you say it, that funny way. Oh, Nigel Al-Farage. Is that what you mean? Yeah. Why did they get him back in to sort it out? It's always bloody idea anyway. Yeah, no, I mean, I say wait for that for tomorrow. But I say going back to today, though, I mean, going on with what we said about Manchester and the actions, etc., of the police, I've noticed a lot of people mentioning two-tier again today, you know, bringing out talks and videos about two-tier. And I thought to myself, well, has two-tier, I mean, it's never gone away, has it? But has its head surfaced? Are we getting more signs of it? I mean, recently I've seen more. If you think back to when everyone was talking about two-tier, there was only arrests of white people. There wasn't any arrests of anyone else, was there, of colour or anything else? And that's where the whole outrage from two-tier came from. But I mean, over the course of the last few months, we have seen a few arrests, haven't we, from the Palestinian side, some of the rioters in London I'm talking about as well. I mean, we didn't see it in Manchester, but in London, and then even on Sunday, this Sunday just gone, there was actually a few arrests, wasn't there, in Speaker's Corner. Don't know if any of you have seen that footage, but that was the first time I've seen more than 3 police in Speaker's Corner in maybe a year, a year or two. And I think they arrested three people on Sunday for taking an Israeli flag and destroying it or something. So yeah, it kind of begged the question: has two-tier come back? Are we seeing two-tier? Where are we seeing two-tier policing? And I've got a little video. I have played it a while ago, but I'm going to play it again just to remind us of what two-tier is. So I'll give that a little play now. And yeah, I think this is the one.
What is two-tier policing? And does it really exist? It's the claim police treat those on the right of politics differently to those on the left. It's been labelled a conspiracy theory, and politicians right across the spectrum have said it doesn't exist. But after a week of rioting across the country, Reform UK leader Nigel Farage has claimed that ever since the soft policing of the Black Lives Matter protests, the impression of two-tier policing has become widespread. Senior officers say protests are policed appropriately based on intelligence. If violence is expected, riot police are deployed. They aren't if protests are predicted to be peaceful. The Prime Minister said,
"There's no two-tier policing. There is policing without fear or favour, so that is a non-issue."
Even former Home Secretary Priti Patel, who was in charge of police during the Black Lives Matter demonstrations in 2020, agrees. She said,
"What we saw during the pandemic, protests that were being policed, what we're seeing right now is thuggery and disorder and criminality. There is a complete distinction between the two."
Here's what happened when the chief of the Met Police was asked about two-tier policing.
Are we going to end two-tier policing, sir?
He's now said this.
It's complete nonsense. We stand in the middle. We operate independently under the law without fear or favour.
Well, anyone can say that, you know.
I mean, it's an older clip now. It was after the riots, but it ties into what Zen said, wasn't it? About he said it himself, didn't he? The riot police are deployed when they're expecting trouble. They're not deployed when they're not expecting trouble. Yesterday in Manchester, we saw, was it the TSG or the Territorial Support Unit, TSU, which are riot police, aren't they? So they must have been expecting trouble.
Was it the Finchley one? There was loads, wasn't there?
Well, every patriotic one they've deployed riot police, even though
that wasn't a patriotic one though, was it? The Finchley
yeah, no,
one?
but for example, the United Kingdom ones, they were heavily policed, heavily riot policed, weren't
That
they?
was in London. To be honest, I was a bit relieved at that because it was in London, dear. So
but
London, I was a
it was
bit
peaceful.
relieved.
Yeah, but it was peaceful, and all of them have been peaceful. You know, going on the first one, the second one, the third one, you've seen that they've been peaceful. The only times it's not peaceful is when this other mob turn up, isn't it? So the fact they had them yesterday in Manchester on Saturday just proves to me that they were expecting trouble. So what do you two think? Are we still living under two-tier policing?
Yeah, I'm sorry, I personally think it's been there like for eons. I don't think it's anything new. I think a lot of people are waking up to it, so they're talking about it more, but I think it's been there for yonks. I really do.
My unpopular opinion, maybe, like I watch a lot of stuff, and I mean it. With my autism, my ADHD, I'm on every single side, every single level of like that. I watch a lot of the things, and I'm going to say that every single side seems to feel that in some way or the other there's unfairness, which I've noticed a lot. It's just my pattern recognition. But being to quite a few of them myself, I can definitely say, this is just my opinion, that when when I've been to the other ones with like the yellow flyers, I don't know all the names of everything. Yeah. I felt that it was a lot more, it was literally about to go off any second. That's my personal feeling. People walking around in masks, bumping each other, heightened aggression, and there wasn't really anything from any other side. It just seemed like the first part, anger. Like I said, I tried to talk to someone. They were chanting things. I didn't like, even if you're just walking down the street and you was like, "Oh, what's going on here?" They're like, "Ah!" Like it was a bit, and that's when I started thinking, and then I saw things there and it was completely different to what was said on the news. And that was my first thing. I was like, oh, this is a bit funky, isn't it? It's a bit booky. What's going on here? And that's how I got invested a bit in all the politics stuff. So
Yeah, that's true. I say now that you've kind of seen sense and you've been trying to promote
not
free
seeing
speech
sense. It's
yourself.
just I don't. I'm also I've got CPTSD. I don't like go. I've been to a few protests, but it takes me days to recover. It's very stressful.
Yeah,
Like,
very much together
I
free
don't think
speech.
it's. I personally don't think it's a fun day out. Yay! It's like my nerves are shot to shit, mate. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, but no, but
Yeah, you've got to prepare yourself in the run up to it, let alone deal with the aftermath with yourself, haven't you? So,
Yeah.
big deal.
I say, but yeah, but even online, the fact that you're trying to promote free speech now, which we should all be doing, even you've been getting backlash.
Yeah, because since I started like just being online myself, obviously in the last few years I've been doing the social media thing, and years ago, I could just post my little. I've got a thing about funny little limericks, like funny songs, a little bit rude, a little bit of a metaphor in it. But I was posting them no problem, and I started getting like they were just funny. They weren't even usually my things. It was lip syncing, and I started getting warnings for this and that, the other, and that it all just sort of came together naturally by itself. And I'm just a nosy. My nan used to say about me, I want to know the ins and outs of a duck's butt. So that's probably why I feel like a little investigator sometimes.
Well, we have to be investigators sometimes.
But these people won't talk to you. If they think that you're not directly militant on their side, they don't want to have a conversation. And I'm still meandering through everything. And I think it's a bit rude. And not that anyone owes me their time. I'm just saying that 1 out of the 200 people might want to have a little conversation, but no, they don't. They just want to shout in my face.
That's true. I mean, yeah, Lieutenant, what do you think? I mean, you've had a lot of experience watching the goings on at Speaker's Corner. I mean, you can't really talk.
That's a scary place, man. I don't care. That's scary being
Very
down there.
scary. Very scary. I mean, last time I was there, it was just over about a year and a half, a year and 9 months ago, and I got smacked in the temple by a female Mohammedan because I had to prise her phone out of my face because I had an opinion on something, a conversation that I was just standing watching. But you know, when you kind of like murmur to yourself,
is that what you do?
Around the house, so like, do you know what I mean? Like, I must have aired something against the Revayat that they call the Quran, and she didn't like it. So she had her phone in my face, calling me a terrorist and all that. So I prized her phone out my face. So she comes back and smacks me in the side of the head.
That's terrible.
So I haven't been back. That's how wonderful it is.
My biggest fear is
non-Islamic individuals of this land. Yeah.
I don't.
Sorry,
I don't want anyone to. I've seen so many videos of people being spat at that, like what spat at. Oh, mate, I can't deal with that. I don't have. I don't have the temper or the. I can't. They'll see me switch autistically, mate. Turn into some version of a beast. I haven't got the disposition for that. Spit in my hair.
Well, it's a criminal offence to spit at someone.
But nothing. Listen, and if they run off, nothing's going to get done, and I'm still standing there with phlegm in my beautiful hair. Oh no, I can't deal with it. And that's the point. I know people go down there to have debates and conversations, but a lot of the videos I've seen, they just escalate into mob sort of mentality, or spitting, or violence, or shouting and shout. You can't hear nothing when the two people are shouting over each other. So I give up.
Yeah, no, I'd say their actions are actually despicable sometimes. I mean, Speaker's Corner is there so you can have conversations, so you can actually talk things out, I think they've just got a sense of entitlement at the moment, especially when it comes to Speaker's Corner. I think they feel protected. All these words that have been made up to protect them, the attack that has happened on anyone but them, it's kind of given them a sense of entitlement. I mean, bless her heart, Shalini, she's always at Speaker's Corner, isn't she?
I was about to say about the lady, something happened to her, didn't it?
She got spat out, didn't she? Yeah, not too long ago. I know there's been more atrocities that have happened down there before my time of watching. I mean, I've only been watching the goings on down there for maybe a year, so.
Well, with regards to Shalini, I was just watching it yesterday. Today is Monday, yes. Just yesterday, and I was watching it live, and they were knocking her about a bit there as well. I think she's pregnant, you know, and they were pushing her about, like she's got a bit of a bump, and it's out of proportion to the rest of her. It's not weight; it looks like a baby bump to me, and they're still pushing her around.
Well, if she is pregnant, she probably shouldn't go down there again.
No, it's a bit dangerous.
She's probably the first one on their list for being attacked usually. I say, I don't know if you watched Sunday has just gone, but there's a few clips going around. About 3 of them got arrested, I think, which has never happened before, has it? Usually they end up getting away with murder. I remember watching Big Nose of London's channel once when you were on it, Lieutenant, when someone came at him with a chain, wasn't it, in the end?
Yeah, that was horrendous for me. Like, I was literally on my honkers, on my settee, on the phone to the police at that, like, because I was his mod. So I'm looking at everything through his lens, watching his every move, and, you know, looking in all directions all the time as best as I can, and keeping an eye on the live chat, all this nonsense. And this guy pulls this, it was a supermarket trolley chain. So think about this. He pulled that, ripped that off a supermarket trolley, made his way all the way through London to Hyde Park to the Big Nose of London. So you can't tell me that wasn't premeditated.
I'll never forget.
What's he doing walking around in a free, harmless
That's a big weapon
with a chain? It's a cold weapon.
It's a big weapon. That's damage.
I was watching it live, and obviously at first he thought it was a knife, which you probably would immediately think. Now that you told me what it was, obviously that bit on the end that goes in the trolley with your pound or whatever it is may look like a knife. So at first he thought it was a knife, wasn't it? I'll never forget him going, "Police, police!" My moderators ring the police.
Yeah,
I'm not. You should say to me, go down there. Absolutely not, darling. Oh no! Keep my butt safe.
But even then, everyone chased the guy, didn't they, and surrounded him. And I think didn't the police catch up to him in the end? But did he not get arrested or anything? I don't think anything came of that, did it?
But the thing is, Nose had to tell the officer to retrieve the chain. And then the officer says, "Well, what do you want me to do with it?" And surely that's evidence, and it should go into a bag immediately. So the officer was like, "Well, I'll just be putting it in the bin." What? Nose was having to let it, like, do you know what I mean? Lead the charge on what to do with this serious criminal offence.
How did
it was unbelievable.
It's evidence.
Well, that's the thing, yeah. I was saying. I mean, even who's the? I say you know the names better than me, LTG. But who's the Indian Christian preacher? There was another time, I think, when he got attacked, didn't he, or something? And I think they went after the person again, another Asian person, and he didn't get arrested or anything. Evening, South London lad. I haven't seen you for a while. Glad you're back with us. Everyone hit that like button if you're coming into the stream late. I say we're discussing all sorts tonight, but the main topic of conversation, I say, was, if you see my video, the Greater Manchester Police and how they dealt with the event of the survivors of the SA child exploitation, and how they protected the Antifa, Islam, Palestinian, trans, union, communist mob. I think I covered them all there. So that's our main topic. But I say, going back to Speaker's Corner, Lieutenant, it's just Sunday. Was it Sella? I think Sella put in on the comments that he saw Sunday's clips, but it was. I can't find it now, but it was a great show of force. I mean, I've only ever seen 3, possibly 5 police down there, even when something's kicked off. And I mean, there was at least.
Why were they all there on Sunday then?
The London Marathon.
Oh, because of the marathon. Yeah, that's why I didn't go to the London Dungeon, because of the London Marathon. I should have remembered. Sorry.
But even compared to last year's London Marathon, there was more police there. So, and there was the Let the Women Speak thing.
Oh, you on there still?
With what's her name? Oh gosh, what's she called? She's been running the Let Women Speak movement.
Is it a blonde lady?
Yes, against the trans thing.
Short hair.
Yes,
I know
she's
exactly
a mother.
what you mean. I can picture her in my mind. Is it Kate?
Gosh. Is it who?
I've sent you videos of her
terrible
before.
for not remembering her.
Yeah, she's the I Am Woman, that one.
Woman means adult
Yeah, woman.
female
Yes, I
human
know.
being.
I know exactly who you mean, and it's annoying. I cannot remember her name, but yeah, blonde,
I'm going to
short
have
hair.
to look her up now.
She's
Is
kind
it
of
Kelly?
retro looking. She's pretty.
Yeah, she's very pretty.
She's
It's
got like,
Kelly
yeah,
something.
maybe 40s look, vibe, 50s. Really cool. She's a cool lady, and she stands up for what she believes in, and that I respect that. Kelly,
Kelly J. Keane. That's her.
Yeah, so
Can't
yes,
believe I forgot her name.
Kate Kelly sort of zero enough again.
yeah, no, what's
Kelly
she doing?
J. Keane.
I say, is she
Posey
down there?
Parker.
Is she down
Yes,
there as
that's
well?
it.
Is she down at Speaker's Corner then as well? I say, you said
Yeah, she
was
was there yesterday. She was on the grass though. She wasn't on the tarmac, but she was within the bounds of what is regarded as the free speech part. That is Speaker's Corner. Yeah, there was her and a group of other people, and there was a number. I didn't listen to every speech, but there was a number of women got up talking. I think about what's been happening to women's safe spaces. Like the toilets, men in dresses going into toilets and stuff. And changing rooms where there's young girls getting changed at Topshop and that. So
I couldn't believe how many of them there was until they had that protest in London or something.
yeah,
Some of them. Yeah, no, I'll say it's good that they've sorted that out though, at least, isn't it?
It's
I mean,
not really. Listen,
that's been
with
passed,
anything
hasn't it?
that the powers that be do, if you think they're giving with one hand, trust me, they'll be taking it away something with another. No, it's all. I don't. It's all like I said, it's bullshit and mirrors. Bullshit
yeah,
and
like
mirrors.
they've got to have you chasing after something. And once they've cooked up another idea, they'll give you that something you've been chasing after, because then they'll bring in something else for you to chase after and fight about. As
Because
if you should have to fight for anything. Like, it's your home, this country. It's for you to live in, isn't it? In the way that you see fit. We're supposed to be ruled by consent.
Mm-hmm. Oh, exactly, yeah. I mean, we're supposed to be the voice of the people that are in Parliament, so yeah, we should have a say somewhere. But yeah, I'm not sure. I'm not sure of anything else that we can discuss on that. Unless you've got any more examples of two-tier policing.
There was I can't think of it in clarity, but there was a number of times where Nose was surrounded by these individuals, and the police handled this situation very, very badly. Like, it's like they've got these kit gloves for these individuals who have more melanin in their skin, who have a foreign accent, who observe certain, and I use the term loosely, religions, because I think they're cults, basically, death cults. So they seem to treat them with kit gloves when actually they're the perpetrators of many crimes. They're thugs. If that was us, like when we were growing up, and that was my group of friends, they'd be watched over by the police and they wouldn't be allowed to get away with anything. But now it's like, oh, it's that lot. Stand back, let them do what they want to do.
My personal life, I just want to say, like, not a trigger warning, everyone, not getting into it, just putting over there, David. When I was kidnapped by a fake Uber, because I booked an Uber and I saw, and like, I'm not getting into the whole semantics, I got away, but it doesn't matter. I called the police because I said, they basically said it was my fault, because when I called the Uber and I look, because I was having a bit of a autistic moment, and I saw it was a K, and I pulled over and I said, is that an Uber for Zen? And he said, yeah, for Zen. And I've got in it, and then obviously I've realised as we're going flying down the motorway, it's not the right, something's not fucking right. And when I called them up, I said, yeah, well, they said basically I should have, it's basically sort of my fault. I should have been more aware. They can't help me. But I was at the time, because I was still a bit from it all. And I'm thinking after that, this was like, what, 3 years ago, sorry, just coming up for 3 years ago in June.
I'm surprised you're talking about it. But...
Okay, every time I do, I get really, because the thing is, like my adrenaline goes, because I was fighting at the time. So then my brain starts remembering. I was like, so then I get a bit hyped up. But yeah, they weren't really interested. And I'm now thinking, how come they didn't check the CCTV? They said, oh, it's probably a fake plate. They won't get anywhere with it, blah, blah, blah. They'll let me know.
And this would have been the Metropolitan Police, would it?
Well, yeah, well,
Yeah. So,
they called me back. I called the one. I always get 111 and 101 mixed up until I'm actually, because I Google it when I actually need one. And I always get things mixed up. Whichever one the police is, where it's not non-emergency, that's the one. And the next day, and I was like, I literally think I just saved my own life. And they were just a bit sort of like, well, we'll get someone to call you back. Then the officer called me back. But they were a bit like, well, we'll let you know what we can do. But like I'm saying, the day after, I was still like, oh, what the holy hell has happened? But now, obviously, as time goes on, whenever I rarely think about it, I'm like, hang on a sec, they could have done a lot more. And I'm like,
that was a traumatic experience for you as well. That brought on all your PTSD.
Well, listen, I think that, but then I think to myself, do you know what? He picked the fucking wrong one, because I ain't the one or the two, mate. And the second I realised, I'm not. The second his head was, and I was like, "Where are you taking me? This is," and I thought, "This motherfucker's trying to kidnap me." I jumped in the front. I pulled out my phone. I was like, "Look, I'm live." And because I just had a video that got over 1 million views, I was like, "I've got 1 million followers." His face was like, he's trying to drive. And I'm like, "Look, say hello to all my followers." Bang, bang. I was thinking of jumping out the car, but I was like, listen, I'm not super, even with my ADHD, I'm not Superman. I can't jump out the North Circle at 70 miles an hour. So luckily for me, he managed to slow down when we was like it must have been like Haringey, because I fucking got out and I had my man bag. I was swinging that. I was standing in the middle of the road because I thought, nah, I ain't going down, mate.
Of all the places for you to get out, you get out in Haringey.
Yeah, and it fucking cost me, I'll tell you what else pissed me off. It cost me 40 quid to get home. It cost me another 40 quid to get home from where I had to jump out. I was fuming.
Yeah, no.
I know. Listen, I've got dark humour. It happened to me. I can joke about it because it's better than sitting there going, "Oh my god," you know what I mean? But it did. It cost me another fucking 40 quid to get home. I was absolutely livid. I went out the door. I looked really nice. By the time I come home, I was like that. My daughter was like, "What happened to you?" I think I've just been kidnapped. She was like, "Oh my god!" Like it's not funny. It's not funny. But I can't sit here crying about it. Do you know what I mean?
No,
So,
at least you can like.
but yeah, it does. Now I
that
think
or,
about it even now. How come they didn't check the CCTV? Listen, if I'd have stolen something from the pub, or someone's bag, they'd have had my fucking 4D face up on the news or something. Thief in the area, on the Facebook Marketplace, whatever it is of the area. But they couldn't even check a little CCTV for me. But funnily enough, the pub, I think it was something to do with the bouncers, and there's something dodgy going on there because, oh god, this is not nice. A girl got R-worded in the toilets of that pub not long after.
Wow.
And it's closed down now. It's on the, but yeah, I think something very dodgy was going on there.
Yeah, there's some doormen up and down the country that have some kind of rackets going on, don't they? And
yeah,
things like that happen.
After it happened, I've been there. But the thing is, that place, I've been there a lot of times. It did change hands. We didn't know. It was, it's quite a fancy place. It's not like, it's expensive as hell in there.
Was this the one that was right on the North Circular? That one?
No, it's on the court. I don't want to say which one it is because, it's opposite. It's right near Southgate Tube Station. It was on the corner. It's an expensive place. It's not a dive, but yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And it's literally 10 minutes from my house. So when the guy was he could have gone this way or this way, but he started going down the North Circle. And I was thinking, why are you taking me down the North Circle? First off, I thought, I ain't paying for this. Because I thought it's going to cost me more money. But then I said, well, I'm not paying for this. Why? And he was just locked driving like that. And I thought, this motherfucker, this is going to get, oh, hell no. I jumped in the front seat. Like, we're live. Say hi.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. I mean, you thought quickly on that night. And
no, I've been through too much shit. And I've got
you were lucky because a lot of other people may not have gotten away so
and
lucky.
that's the thing. I've been through stuff before. So listen, I'm on the I thought this motherfucker's trying. One, I thought he was going to try and charge me more money, so that straight got my back up, right? And then secondly, I thought, oh, he's trying to kidnap me. I don't think so. I'm not going down without swinging. We can both. I was prepared in that moment. We can both crash and burn because you ain't taking me nowhere. So that's what I think. I don't think he was prepared to deal with that level of.
I mean. You say as well it was an Uber driver. I mean, I really think more needs to be done with the security of Uber. I mean, the amount of things that have been, happened thanks to Uber drivers that we've seen thanks to X and other places, man. I mean, they're rife. I mean, I've had to pick up cars from X drivers from a company I worked with you know, that become Uber drivers, and I know firsthand that they say they just sign in, they let their cousin go and drive in the car, or whoever Tom, Dick and Harry is visiting from bloody Afghanistan or Pakistan or wherever they're from, and they share cars maybe with up to about 3 people, you know, or more. And that's
It's
just the
never
ones
the.
that
I'll
I've
say
heard
that it's
about.
never the same
So,
person when you order food or when you get. It's really hardly ever
yeah,
the same person.
you have
And I've
you have
seen
to
myself
start.
on Facebook Marketplace
Yeah, that's
people
the thing.
renting out
People
their
really
things.
have to start putting it down there. Do you know what I mean? Because it gives you the option. Was this the person that delivered your food? Because they're trying. I suppose as a company, Uber are trying, but it's still not good
But they've
enough.
got their helmets on most of the time. But you know,
Exactly. But people do really have to start, you know, putting in this feedback, because otherwise nothing's going to change. I mean, they're supposed to log in. That's the thing with, I think, facial ID now or something, to start getting their work downloaded to them and
yeah,
stuff
but if
like
you've
that.
got an account that's on 2 different, like
But
same with, if you've got like an account, yeah, and you've got different phones, it still work. You can, like, say for
yeah, I
instance,
know.
you.
Well, yeah,
So
but this is the thing. Uber brought it in to help safeguard vulnerable people, children, you know, girls, women that are coming back from nights out on their own. So they did try, and there is that facial recognition. But like I've told you already, they just sign in with their face and give the phone to their cousin or whoever they want to give it to, uncle, whoever's
that's the
bloody
point.
visiting
All
or
around
whatever.
Southgate, they've got those
So
bloody cameras and things like that. They I bet you any money if that guy parked in the wrong spot, they'd have a 3D image of his face. But no, because he kidnaps a girl, oh, we probably won't be able to get anything off that.
I'll say it's convenient how cameras are never working, isn't it? When something like this
Oh,
happens.
does it not make you wonder, is this not all like accidentally on purpose? That this doesn't work, that doesn't work, that doesn't work. How about we're bringing chips? How about we chip each other,
Why
right?
doesn't it go to the
Instead,
cloud?
instead of going to the root of the problem, which is the third world, which is nowhere near as civilized as us, being imported en masse. If we didn't have them, yeah, we'd have our own problems, but not on such a grand scale.
Yeah, that's 100%. Yeah, definitely. But you're right. I think it is leading to that, isn't it, Lieutenant? I mean, there's been talk of chipping us since 2018.
Chipping us like animals.
Like you say, yeah, something like that could give them quite, I guess, an avenue to go down to scare people into having to have that done to them. Do you know what I mean?
But they'd always, with technology, within, even say for instance, the chips started rolling out, within a month, they'd find a way to freaking hack one. But you guarantee, like, it wouldn't really, the way it is, it doesn't really solve anything, in my opinion, because they'll figure out, you find a solution, they'll find a way, the hackers will find a way around it.
Oh, yeah.
But I don't really,
I mean,
but then we're all going to go towards that. I don't want a 15-minute city digital ID. You know, like the same thing they've got in China. Like, what's it? If you've got your what's that thing? You know, but if you're a good civilian, you get like bonus points and that.
oh, the social credit scoring.
Yeah, social credit. I really want to be on that.
Is that a real thing?
Yeah.
My
Say
eyes
one
would
thing
make me
wrong
see
and you're going to
credits.
starve for a month.
Yeah. Well, anything made by man can be manipulated by man. That's always been.
Well, exactly. It only turns out wrong because man programmed it to be wrong. Do you know what I mean? Oh, it's artificial intelligence. Yeah, who programmed that artificial intelligence? Let's not go down the plausible deniability route, okay? Everything's got a paper trail.
I mean, what kind of things can you think that can come out to help to safeguard, you know, women, vulnerable children, I guess, women that are on their own late at night? I mean, we've had so many things in the past. This is the thing. I mean, if you think back to the bloody 90s, wasn't it? Rape alarms came out, didn't they, first? I know it's nothing great compared to today's technology. But
we can't even carry much anyway. The most we can carry is a bit of deep heat. That's it. And then I see something the other day. There's like this spray foam that leaves a dye on the attacker.
You're allowed
and
to use that
in the
now.
comments, there is all people going, "You can't use this. What happens if it blinds them?" I couldn't give a shit if someone's trying to attack me and it blinds them. Good. Hopefully they won't attack anyone else.
A lot of people are running around with machetes and knives.
Gun drones.
We haven't even got the right to defend ourselves in this country yet. Do you know what I mean? So.
Do you remember the story of the burglar that fell through the roof onto an upturned kitchen knife and he ended up suing the woman? That's the first time I ever heard a story, and I thought, what's going like? And I was quite young then. I remember thinking, that can't be right. That can't be right.
It was the same when that farmer shot that guy, wasn't it? That was burgling his house or something, and he got done for it, didn't he? Even though that was wasn't it an armed burglary as well? So they had weapons themselves. But I think it all rested on the fact that he was escaping the house when he got shot. If somebody's coming into your house and you kill them, I think this is actually a law, then you'll get away with it because they're breaking in. But if they're looking like they're leaving and you do it, you'll lose. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, if
What
it
if they're
appears
running
that
off with
they
all
are
your shit?
leaving, if it appears that they're leaving or they're running away, then you cannot justify killing them because
Yeah.
they're not coming at you.
In the
They're
eyes of the
going
law,
away.
that
Yeah.
makes a big difference. I guess
Yeah.
going back to that case is where it was kind of proved. But yeah, I say, I mean, you know, our hands are being tied with everything in this country at the moment. People don't feel safe. I mean, you can't think of any ways to help safeguard people, you know, any more than has already been happening. We're supposed to be the most watched country in the world, aren't we, with CCTV cameras? But they're
Oh
never
yeah.
working, are they? When there's a
Oh no, but the ULEZ
London,
cameras for the
London-
cars are so much more advanced than the cameras to protect the people, which is like the ULEZ camera gets took down. Oh, there's a whole team of people to stand there, protect it, fit another one, and make sure that it doesn't happen again. But when it comes to an area that is known very dangerous for whatever reason, I'm blind, I can't see the police, so we don't see nothing.
As I said, put in the comments gun drones, and you think back to
No, I just laughed.
think back to like Running Man and old films like that. What was it, Fifth Element and stuff? They probably will have this kind of technology pretty soon.
But the thing is, you're saying about safeguarding, the measures that are already supposed to be in place should work, but the people in control of them let loopholes slide because they're generating more money. So that's what it is.
Yeah.
There is safeguarding in place, but it's not used effectively because it makes more money by not enforcing it.
The thing is, London is the most heavily surveilled city in Europe at the very least, and its crime rates are soaring. The percentage of immigrants is minimum 63% in London. Only 37% at the most are of this land in our capital city. Fun facts. And so the crime rates are through the roof. Like I could go into Sainsbury's now and help myself to a month's worth of shopping. None of them would bat an eyelid. I've seen a guy who was all over the place, foreign accent, stuffing his rucksack, and I turned around to a member of staff in Sainsbury's and I pointed out what was going on discreetly, like I don't make a show or anything. And he had a look, and he was too scared to go up to him. Just let
I'm not being funny. If I worked for Sainsbury's, you'd be bugging if I'd be getting involved. The Sainsbury's don't care about you. If you get up and you're off work for 4 weeks, they'll probably be telling you in 2 weeks your holiday pays off. So
I mean,
I wouldn't be getting. I
companies,
personally wouldn't be getting involved, but there needs to be more. There needs to be more done. But I'd say
what
if I work for Sainsbury's, I
it
would
goes
get
down
involved.
to the globalist, doesn't it? Because if you think about if you've had jobs in retail and stuff, most places will always say to you, if someone's threatening to rob you or something, don't get involved. Let them take the money. We've got insurance. That's what they're going to say, isn't it? So they get insurance payouts. But hang on. Superdrug always used to give you a £50 bonus, I think, if you shot someone in. But
that's why they're so keen in there, boy. They follow you around like Inspector Gadget.
Yeah. But an hour ago, about an hour or two ago, I saw somebody was live whilst they were robbing Greggs. I mean,
robbing Greggs? Do you know what? They'd be lucky around here because I'd never get a sausage roll or a freaking yum yum anymore. They must be going around here.
You're on TikTok then, so you'll probably be able to find it. But apparently on TikTok about a couple of hours ago, somebody was live streaming robbing a Greggs.
Was it young or were they young or old?
A white boy and a black boy, I think it was, maybe 18, if that. Probably I'd say 18, 19. And the shop guy, obviously, well, what can he do? He just wants to lock the door, doesn't he, and get him out of the shop. He picked up a pan and he threatened to hit him a couple of times. It wasn't that violent, but the fact that people have actually got the audacity to live stream while they're nicking from a Greggs.
Listen, you must be some absolute
you know what I mean?
dumb thick. You've just completely ruined you get like I do wonder what goes on in some people's minds sometimes. I don't think there's a lot going on up there.
The thing with like Sainsbury's, going back to that one, you can imagine, well, I've heard it through the grapevine, and certainly when I look at the staff and I look at the management who I have had a bit of to do with in the Sainsbury's, that comes to my mind. it's the same mindset as what we see at Speaker's Corner, who's running the show in there, the death cult. So they've now brought in barriers. There's cameras all over the place. A few streets away, there's a smaller Sainsbury's where all the homeless and all of this hang out, right? There's not one camera and nothing gets stolen.
Well, do you know where I see
Run
loads
by
of
different
cameras?
people.
You know where I see the most high-tech cameras now that are popping up? Outside the hotels that the immigrants are being put in, and outside the
Dalek
centres.
ones. The Daleks, you mean?
And it's not to surveil them, it's to surveil us.
I walked past it the other day and I was like, exterminate.
Exactly,
I thought it was
but
a
they're all
Dalek.
brand new. They're all white. They've all got bloody little, like you say, little Dalek things on, and they've lately got the Retina display, lens on it as well, so they can ID the person straight away. And they're all, I've noticed them all, they're popping out everywhere. I mean, luckily I never had an Islamic centre here where I live, but one popped up conveniently in an old disused scout hut about 4 or 5 months ago, and I found it tucked away behind a lot of civic buildings. You wouldn't even know it was there unless you had a dog walker and you went to like part of the field behind. And I say that popped up, so I've been keeping an eye on it. Didn't look very busy or used, but then I noticed those cameras again. And if you watch the auditors and stuff, going around to the hotels, they've all got these brand new high-tech bloody cameras, haven't they? And it makes you think, why? Is it because we're going to attack them?
They've got
Is
one
it
up
to
there because
monitor
they
them?
say
They can't
they're
monitor them
changing
because
the
they've
old
got no
people's
ID.
home. So listen to this, they chucked a load of old people out of the old people's home, and now they've got all the Daleks outside, and they say that they're changing it into another old people's home. But don't know. Oh yeah, sorry. The measures that the Tesco near me has to stop the thieves are so fucking are just genius. They're so genius, in fact, that they nearly stopped me entering the bloody building because the doors open so slow now. I walk straight into them. And I was talking to a partner, I was like, yeah, blah, 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 bang. Because when I see the door opening, I just assumed it was going to open at the normal speed. But no, they open like that now. I was like,
I could just imagine you doing that as well, to be fair.
And I was like, stop. And I was like, because I thought the door was going to open and it was still. And then my daughter was like, no, they do that now to stop the thieves. I was like,
I'm gonna say, if you lot fancy a quick break, and I'll play the song because I've got a message from RBM, so you might join us.
oh yeah, go on then.
If anyone wants to have a cup of tea or a quick break or something.
Cheers, everyone. I'm finishing off my expression.
I'll give you 3 minutes and then we'll carry on, yeah?
Okay.
Nice one.
Good stuff. Should be quicker at this, really, shouldn't it?
Sausage, you're going out with your sister.
I am One Generation Media, and this is my media. One Gen Media, walking the streets with a yes, yes of the UK, the courage of the UK, pushing my cam to the limits. I'm standing right here in a crowd, or in London town. One Gen Media, walking the streets with a yes, yes. Keeping the faith in a crowded place. Gotta realize, all the MSM realize, no mics in faces. I'm standing right here, ready with questions. Give me your answers. One Generation Media, first generation of true media, needed everywhere with my real life. No one feeding me lines, talking points on nothing. For a self-made journal, I'm your YouTube, you know it's pretty sick. Gonna realize, all the MSN realize, bringing you the news that the legacy refused. One Generation Media, first generation of true media, needed everywhere with my real eyes. First person view, reporting of current affairs. I am One Generation Media, and this is my media. One Gen Media, walking the streets with a yes, yes, holding a mic to the voiceless, shining a light on the silencers. us as cogs in a wheel that they can't live without. Imagine if it all stopped spinning, gotta find a way to unite, gotta keep up the fight. I am one generation media, and I am one generation media, and I am one generation media, and this is my media. Yeah, this is my media.
Still the best song out of the lot, isn't it?
I really like the reggae one, big nose reggae one. I feel like even if you changed a couple of words to that and made it, could literally go like be a summer tune.
Just saw Roman's comment. Do you mean RBM, Steve? Yeah. He's just said he's going to join us anyway. He's in the middle of a game, but he's going to come up and talk a bit about Manchester as well. So we'll give him a couple of minutes. But yeah, I noticed the comment. I was now going through the chats. Paul said about the blackout in Europe, in Portugal, Spain, and France. Have you seen that, you lot?
I see a little bit. I saw someone talking about the blackout.
Yeah, they've been without power, complete shutdown since this morning. So Portugal's got nothing. Everyone that was on the trains, everyone in tunnels in the middle of nowhere, their trains have just stopped. Nothing works.
Traffic lights don't work.
No. They can't drive anywhere because the traffic's chaos. Obviously, there's no power, no refrigeration, no nothing. I actually think it's not funny, but I've said this for a long time. What happens if we run out of power? How many people are going to panic, and how many know how to make fire with a wooden stick?
I've got a big old barbecue outside, and I've got a wind-up radio. I'll be cooking outside in a wind-up radio. That's me.
That's going back to Roman's comment about Big Steve. Yeah, it was funny when we were at the protest because he's so big. Obviously, everyone goes up to him. All the security are like, "Well, I wouldn't mind having a boxing match with you."
It's so easy to spot you two because you two are so much taller than everyone. And obviously, when you've got your sticks higher, all I have to look for is their hats. I'm like, "Oh, there they are."
You say that as well. He gets himself lost, I swear, especially in cities. I don't know what's wrong with him. He saw me on my live. I was trying to get us somewhere, and he just kept on stopping and not knowing where he was. I'm like, come on, we've got to get your bearings. Would be quite good. But I say, have any of you two been to Manchester?
Liverpool, Hull.
I've only ever passed through it, I think.
Just passed through it, on a train or something, or is that what you mean?
Yeah, I think so. Or a coach, something like that. I vaguely recall. It was at night, years ago. That's all I remember. That's all I've got to do with Manchester. I might have actually. Have I been on a flight there before? Gosh, I might have been a child when that happened. So, might as well just say no.
The closest I've been is when I used to work in Corfu as a PR girl. There was a bar there called the Manchester Bar, and there was also one called the London Bar. Because all the people from London went to the London Bar, and all the people from Manchester went to the Manchester Bar. So I know a lot of people from Manchester, but I've never been. I've been Sheffield, and I went to the Leaning Steeple Church. No, I think that's just below Sheffield as well. It's not Manchester, but it's up north.
Close enough, I suppose.
For a Londoner, it's close enough.
It surprised me how close all the towns are up there. I mean, you can get from like Liverpool to Newcastle, can't you, Lieutenant, quite quickly. I mean, the trains up there are like bloody the underground down here, I suppose. I mean, Crewe, Liverpool, Manchester.
I wouldn't know. I'm from Zimbabwe, so I wouldn't know.
Zimbabwe, bloody hell, Dakar, yeah. Is it Dakar?
voice card, Dave. Honestly.
Well, I've heard lots of good stories about Zimbabwe. Apparently, you have a plethora of women, all different shapes and sizes, all different colours. I've been told so many times Zimbabwe is the most.
Go on, you see what go on over there as well. You would like it, Dave.
Do you think so? Let's have a look. Sella's just put a comment on. I'll get that up.
Yeah, the lefty Big Mama allegedly tripped up is a well-known antagonist, some type of leader of Mani Pali Wallies. Big Mama needs to expose her as an antagonist. Who's Big Mama? I'm missing out here.
I'm wondering the same, Sella. Which one is that? Is that the one with pink, red hair that we focused on, or a couple of channels focused on? Or I thought earlier when you mentioned it was the mother of of Sydney Jones. I say she got arrested for nothing, but
No, so isn't that the woman who tripped her?
yeah, the other one, she's big as well. So I don't know which one you mean.
I didn't see. I thought
She's
it
an
was referring.
antagonist, as far as I know. Yeah.
I liked it when they. What did you say when they put the flyer in your face? Excuse me, I can get you done for criminal damage.
Well, I see other people doing it.
I know. That's what
was-
you listen. That's what they say in these
Yeah, I
things
mean,
now.
it didn't bother me too much. It wasn't like that hard or anything, but it was the way. I don't know if you clocked it on my video because I saw it. She just made a beeline for me, didn't she? She's quite a big woman as well. Is that the one you're on about?
I didn't see who was doing it. I just saw the camera go like whoop, with the flyer.
If you watch my clip, I brought up a little finger to try and highlight her, but she literally made a beeline for me. Got through the crowd, straight in the face. She was one of the renter mob, wasn't she?
I tell you what, that video of the other guy that you sent me, and I genuinely couldn't make out what was being shouted until he was taking the mic and he was saying they were shouting arse cheeks.
Yeah,
and then I could and it's out. But I still don't understand the people were standing up there telling their stories of abuse, not aimed at it was just like of abuse, and our street it didn't make once again, like you say earlier. It didn't make any sense. I don't know if they thought they come prepared for a different kind of protest, or they didn't know what the protest was about.
Yeah, sorry, just got an answer from Stella. He said, yeah, Sid's mum, the girl who got arrested. I don't think Sid's mum is an antagonist. Is that what you mean? The other one is an antagonist. Yeah, the one that got her arrested for allegedly tripping her up. But I think. Yeah, Sid's mum. I think her name online on X is, Stephen will remember it when he comes. What was it? Unchained something. It'll come to me, but I'll let you know. But she's put a really funny video up today of what actually happened. Her and her husband reenacted the trip.
The iconic trip.
Yeah, but no, she's lovely. I don't think Sid's mum's an antagonist, but the other one definitely is an antagonist. Her name's been going around X and all sorts today. I've seen quite a lot of posts. Because this isn't the first one she's done it at. Apparently she goes to all of them, doesn't she? She travels around a lot, London, up north, everywhere. You know the one we're talking about, I think. Shabnam, was it?
I've got to do some investigations. I don't know who that is.
Yeah, no. Apparently there was a clip I saw today of hitting a policeman in. You know the last one they went to. Where was it? Portsmouth, possibly. I think it's one of those ones down south. But yeah, one of the counter-protesters got arrested for being aggressive, and she came behind and hit the police. Nothing happened to her. She caused all this commotion at Manchester this weekend. You know, she was just floating around causing trouble. Nothing happened. And yeah, I think she attacked CP in London as well, didn't she, or something?
Oh, little CP, the little majestic menace.
I thought CP might have come on today, but I think she's working. She said she had to work, so I don't think she'll be here. But we have been going for a little bit, and hopefully RBM will hurry up and tell us what he thought about Manchester. Where is it?
Have you seen any of the? I've seen a couple of snippets of a protest in Southend in the last week, and one in Dover. It all seemed to get a bit lively on both sides there.
Yeah, Dover was a good one actually. I mean, to be fair, a lot of the people that came to Manchester, or a few of them, went down to Dover the next day, so they've done a lot of travelling. And I did a hell of a lot of travelling. Yeah, RBM, he did a lot of travelling. To be fair.
Plus the trains is not cheap now at all. It's not like you could back, you pay a tenner or something. It's like how much is it to Manchester?
Yeah, no, this is the thing. To get to Manchester, right, because it's the end of the month and everything, we had to book the cheapest ticket possible. So we had to take the slow train, right? And I've never ridden on a worse train than I've ever ridden on. I'm gonna tell everyone the bloody train rides on the way back. Right, firstly, none of the toilets were working. Okay, they were all overfilled with piss, toilet paper, blocks, whatever. And I'm talking to the brim. Yeah, you had people walking up and down the train trying to find which toilet they were going to use, right? I had to use the toilet, and I didn't want to use the toilet.
Well, it's easier for a man than it is a woman.
I know. I really feel sorry for any woman that was on that train. Seriously, I mean, I'm not even going to lie to you. Right, there was a wave. Must have been about that much piss
Please.
on the floor of the toilets, right? For a bloke, okay, you go into the toilet. When that train moves, you get a wave of piss that you want to make sure doesn't go on your shoes. You
Oh
know?
my God.
The wave machine that you
Seriously,
don't want.
no, I'm not even exaggerating. Yeah, it's the most disgusting.
Well, I hope you took footage of it and sent it off.
I didn't, but I should have done. I did think about it at one point because I thought about trying to get a refund.
Yeah, I thought
luckily,
you
well, this is
a
the thing.
partial refund at least
Yeah, well,
for your distress.
Luckily, I got off the stop before London, which saved me and him about an hour and a half. And my son came and picked us up because honestly, that train stunk. It was disgusting. There was
You
no
see how
extra.
bad you've become in the third world? Like, imagine that 30 years ago.
Well, you say that, but this train started in Manchester, and there was a couple of carriages that were full of third world. Okay, they stunk the most. I sat a couple of carriages out.
That's what bringing the third world into the country does. People stop complaining because things like this become normalised.
There was no air conditioning
because it happens
honestly.
more and more and more. That never used to happen in this country. We are a first world country. That sanitation and everything like that we've had for eons.
Mm-hmm.
It's just getting destroyed.
They charge enough for the tickets. That how have they not got enough of a budget to pay a cleaner or to
Exactly.
get a train plumber? It's disgraceful.
Well, one of my ex's nans used to clean the trains, so I know they clean the trains and do a good job in London.
But if there's not enough of them, they're on a look. If there's only like a few cleaners for a few hundred trains, it's not going to get done.
No, seriously, I thought there might be a drain hole or something. I couldn't believe how much there was in those cubicles.
Yeah, how come it didn't just fall through the hole? Because you see the bottom of the floor sometimes. You press that little button.
It was the cheap train. There wasn't any holes. That's what I mean. And honestly, any woman that needed to go to the toilet on them trains wouldn't have been able to. Seriously, it was that bad. It was it wasn't a very good end to our travelling day, and I'd only had 2 hours sleep, and obviously I'm still a bit ill with my throat, so yeah, I'm still recovering from it now. But like I say, it's worth it.
A mental note I'll take. Make sure to put a tenner pant nappy in on any long train journeys, just in case.
Hand gel
in the emergency bag.
I'm glad that I don't have to take hand gel everywhere with me now, like we used to have to do back in Big C. But yeah, hand gel, man, because literally you wouldn't want to touch anything either. I mean, it was disgusting. I might be a little bit OCD on that, but I think RVM's here now, so I'll bring him up. There he is.
What's good? How's it going?
Yeah, it's going good. It's going good. We've been discussing a few things this evening. We started off with Manchester. You obviously know my thoughts on it, but
just to explain, I have no camera at the moment because I took it all apart to take to London, so it's not set up in my studio. So, and because it's such short notice, I ain't got time to set it up. So it's voice only and an Elgato logo.
Yeah, that's fine. That's fine. I say, just tell us about what you thought of Manchester then, about the counter protesters and the dealings of the Greater Manchester Police, from your own personal opinion.
Well, it definitely looked like the police, had no interest in, arresting any of them. They were only interested in pushing us about, especially that one copper that had the beard in the blue top. He was pushing everyone around.
He was our liaison officer, and he was supposed to be an ex-military or something. We heard.
Yeah,
we got the
one that pushed Nick Tenconi.
Mm-hmm.
He's I see a few clips of him, and in every single clip he's looking miserable as anything, pushing people around before that even happened. So yeah, complaints should be thrown in about him.
He was the same one. He was the same one that was talking to Thomas, young Bob and me, when that guy was screaming in the face.
That's right. And he was shouting at Thomas and pushing him about as well.
That's right, exactly. And he even said to the guy, "Can you not scream in my face, please?" And he went, "It's in my footage." He said, "I'm not screaming in your face. I'm screaming in his face." A 16-year-old kid.
Yeah, exactly.
Kid, but,
and then Charlie Veach got him out of there. But but yeah, no, he wasn't a nice copper. And yeah, I think some complaints should be put in about him. I don't know if any have already, but there definitely should be
Well, it
some.
makes me wonder if they've actually got enough experience nowadays. I mean, years ago, you used to have to take a four-year training, and then you had to have a job for 2 years dealing with the public before you
Yeah.
could then get on the streets. Or you'd have a job where you deal with the public first, then you'd do the police training for 4 years, then
Yeah.
you get let out on the beat, to deal with the public. But I don't think any of them. I mean, I interviewed one, didn't I, at the 2-tier protest outside Downing Street. He was 19 years old, I think he said, wasn't he?
Yeah.
I said, how long did you have to train for before you were allowed to walk the beat? And he even said, well, I didn't even have to have a job. He said he was umming and ahhing about it. Wouldn't give me a straight answer, so I kind of forced it. I said, well, they used to let you sort of skip it sometimes if you were in army cadets or sea cadets or somewhere where you had.
I mean, he wasn't exactly young.
It's
He
obvious,
wasn't exactly young, so I'm sure he would have been there for quite a long time, possibly.
You forget, they've extended the age that you have to be at school now. So you have to be in school till you're 18, don't you, in education? And then after that, obviously, if he's 19, he hasn't even had any experience. I don't think he's had the full training. Definitely not. They don't know
Who are you talking about that's 19?
That copper that I interviewed at the 2-tier protest at Downing Street on my live.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's what I mean. So it proves that they're not having the right training, they're not having the experience, and they're being let out on the beat with this kind of education, this diverse education that's been going around for a few years.
Well, this is it. I mean, they're employing people that can't speak perfect English, and people that come to this country can't speak perfect English, and those are the type of people they're employing as well. And it's not on. I mean, I disagree with it all.
That's communication skills, crucial, vital communication skills, and skills on like our entire culture, what we do and don't consent to. They're coming in, they're getting jobs in our public services and especially in the police, and they're just imposing their nonsense upon us.
Yeah, and especially in the police force, it should be perfect English. Something like emergency services should be perfect communication. There shouldn't be any understanding issues.
Be careful saying that though, because it could be deemed as a hate crime nowadays. You can't even ask somebody to speak English now, can you?
Well, no, it's not. It's not a hate crime. It's not like I'm hating on anyone or hating on them. But
no, I know, but that's
the fact is, it should be communication is key. So
yeah, I couldn't see in another.
The thing is, when you
officer that only spoke English and not
when
Spanish.
You call to report an emergency, they need to understand you because keyword, it's an emergency.
Yeah, exactly. You need quick communication and clear.
I've got a story about that when I was in Army Cadets, actually. I remember I'd already been there for a couple of years and we had some recruits in. I'll never forget his name. It was a Chinese kid called Kun Sang Ho. And yeah, no, seriously, because the reason I remember is because all of his mates that joined with him called him Kun, that was his name, and the sergeant pulled him up because he thought he was being racist. Okay, so that's why I've never forgotten it. But he had a stutter, okay, and we were doing some field training, and he had to run back and obviously relay the message to on the radio to get support to us, and he stuttered and he was stuttering at the time, and the sergeant laid into him so hard. He's like, if you can't give a clear message, your troop could be dead. This is it. You got to sort it out. But it does tie in with what you're saying about not being able to speak English. Relaying the information. In English. So,
yeah.
But yeah, we have to start there. Welcome to Chat Local Experimentalist. Please hit that like if you haven't done already. Roman said hello to you, Stephen.
Hello, Roman.
Hello, local.
Good to see you. I'm late to the party. I didn't even. I didn't even check my messages until like 10 minutes ago, and then I realised he was live. So otherwise, I would have come up on the start. But
yeah, no, it was a bit of a random one. This one, just having a bit of a rant. But yeah, so where were you? Whereabouts were you when it all kicked off and Nick Tankoni got pushed? Were you on the left, right, or behind still?
I was literally just on my way round to that bit because I saw there was possible commotion happening. So I just got through the gate bit on the left-hand side to walk round there, and then I see people being dragged and pushed and people falling over, and I was like, shit, I just missed it, like literally by 10 seconds. I would have been there amongst the action.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen other clips now. There was actually a couple more that were arrested. I think Ryan, was it? I think he got put in a van as well, didn't he? That guy in the T-shirt.
Oh, Ryan Rampage?
I don't know if it was him. Was he there?
Well, you
The guy
said
in-
Ryan. That's the only Ryan I know that was there.
He was quite big. He was wearing a t-shirt, quite a stocky bloke. I think there was some clip of him being chucked in the back of one of their CCTV vans, and I think he turned around to the guy and said something like, "Oh, if I was Muslim, this wouldn't be happening." And he literally got shoved hard into this little kind of, cubicle-sized area in the back of one of their CCTV vans. I saw that footage.
I watched Ryan and Marty's videos, and I didn't see any of that, so it can't have been that Ryan, unless it was another guy you're talking about.
Yeah, it might be another one. So just things that I've seen come up on X. I mean, it seems.
But usually those guys will want it. As soon as there's any action, police or whatever, they're there. So if that was the case, that would be there online somewhere.
I'll have to dig it out and send it to you. UKIP Ryan Seller says in the comments it could well have been.
Oh, okay.
Stage.
Not sure which Ryan it is.
I'll try and find it if I haven't shared it.
The only person in UKIP that I know is Tinconi. That's actually UKIP candidate.
You'll have to join the UKIP groups on X, bro. There's a lot more of the purple wave. But yeah, no, I'll say
That's what I'm going to call my hair.
the purple wave.
The purple. Yeah, because that's why. Because it waves up that way and then that way.
Yeah.
I can see you leaning towards UKIP. Zen, you used to be pink and now you're purple. So
At the weekend I was white and blue though, with my hair was white with blue streaks. So I'm a bit of everything.
I know you weren't happy last weekend, were you?
No, it's because my hair was Listen, some people, my hair was platinum, which means no color. It was just white, and I just feel like you've got to have either really creamy skin or tan. It just wasn't my color. But this is. I warmed it up a bit, got a bit of color in it. Whee.
It looks good.
That's interesting.
I mean, what do you think is going to happen now anyway? I mean, probably nothing, I know, but I mean, everything that's been highlighted, do you think there'll be any charges brought, any compensation for those that were heavily mistreated?
Well, you can't get I know this for a fact that some compensation you only get two. I think it's either 18 months or 2 years after the incident happens. So if it was a very traumatic incident, like most of these things are, by the time, and sometimes court doesn't even happen in that time to get the guilty charge to be able to get the compensation. So that needs to be looked at.
I was thinking more towards police complaints commission. I mean, I've seen auditors and other people bring claims.
There should be charges. I mean, whoever threw the eggs and the bottles, that's assault for one thing.
There should be, but they probably won't.
There's cameras everywhere.
Cameras, so they should have seen.
That's what I'm saying. There's cameras everywhere, and it's Piccadilly Gardens, Manchester Central.
They're going to want them to work.
They can have proper main cameras all around that place anyway. CCTV cameras, as well as everyone there that was filming. There's bound to be evidence of that happening, and rightfully it should be treated fairly as assault. So if there is no two-tier policing, then those people will be arrested, and we'll hear something about it.
Well, then how come they'll have to
arrest? With the IPCC, it just depends who you get there. Just because they call themselves Independent Police Complaints Commission doesn't mean they are independent. Like, I've raised a complaint with them before. I told them what the matter at hand was. I'm very explicit with these things, and I do it properly. And the response was, well, the officer says this. So they went with the officer. That was their investigation. They took my statement, and then they supposedly did an investigation and came back and said the officer said this, so case closed. They took the officer's side.
I mean, without going into too much detail, did you have evidence as well for your side of whatever happened?
They didn't even investigate. Like, I put in my complaint. They went away, as you do, you fill in something, you send them what, like your initial thing, and then they go to the officer, they ask them about it, they come back and they say, case closed, because the officer said this. And if they'd done a full investigation, they would have had CCTV footage from the police station that would have supported what I was saying in the first place. Yeah. So they didn't investigate it, and they closed the case. That was it.
They
Same
don't
with-
investigate even when when they like with the thing I was saying earlier, they could have got CCTV, or they could do more if they wanted to, but for some reason and some certain things they just shut the we'll let you, like with me, we'll let you know if anything comes up. Or
is it about persistence? If you're one of these that rings every day or bugs them once a week until something is done, they might actually do it. Or
yeah, it would depend. If they want to do something, they'll do something, but if it's not, like,
Yeah.
they won't. If they won't, you can go up there all the times. You just keep getting more fobbed off, wouldn't you?
Yeah, I mean, it's disappointing more than anything else, isn't it? I mean, you're supposed to have trust in the police, you know, if nothing else.
I've heard of people going and like with even with missing people, so going and literally having to conduct their own investigations. There's one like someone went missing. They found an area of woodland. They're like, "This is his jumper. Will you come and pick it up? And will you come and investigate?" He was clearly at this spot, and
Did they pick it
they're
up?
not. No, they didn't come. They're not coming. They're all over quite a few times. It just I don't. Even when it's like very simple things to do, like coming to the area, taking a few photos, bagging some evidence, they're still dragging their heels there.
I've heard a lot of things like that. I think I've got a friend over in Bristol somewhere where they were looking for a missing teenager or something, and they had, you know, a bit of evidence, a bit of CCTV, an item of clothing, and they still wouldn't.
And with all of the stuff going on now, and they know that people could be very high risk, they still treat them as if, like, you know, what's that, you know, the county lines, the human trafficking, the blah, you know, all the other stuff is like it's not a concern.
Do you think mental health might have something to do with their decision making? Like, because there's a lot of people now suffering different forms of mental health, can they just sort of palm it off?
We don't care if you're a
Because of
teenager,
that,
you're under the age of, you need looking after. And especially if you're a vulnerable person, you're a young person or an old person that's vulnerable, especially. And that's what, like, there's sort of like, it's more the people putting the things on Facebook and trying to raise awareness than it is other things. We used to have like a bit more crime watch and things like that years ago.
Oh, neighbourhood watch. I mean, is there even neighbourhood watches anymore? I know you see the stickers and stuff, but I don't really see it advertised in your local.
More like nosy parkers of the area. Or now you've got
Yeah.
Facebook, like, you know, if you're in your area, what's going on here? That's more like the neighbourhood watch now, isn't it? I do like that
Facebook
around my
groups,
area.
yeah, WhatsApp
I'm
groups.
always on that page.
To be fair, yeah, I mean, local pages and stuff like that on Facebook seems to be where I guess I get the majority of my local information, you know, as it happens from. X is good, but obviously X covers a wide range of places. It doesn't solely focus on local areas. But you are right. I think that probably is the neighbourhood watch nowadays. But don't you think something like that needs to kind of be reinvigorated, especially with what's happening on the streets, you know, the crimes that are committed, etc. We need to try and get our communities back together. That's what I'm trying to think. And I think maybe something like Neighbourhood Watch, you know, might be able to bring a community back together. I mean, it should be done in the church. You know, there's always the religious thing of getting people back to the congregations, the communities, you know, which needs to be done as well. But there's so many people now that, you know, don't believe or aren't religious. I think that's probably a harder route, but something as simple as, yeah, you know, something like that might be easier. What do you think? Anyone?
And I was waiting for, but the thing is, if it's going to be, that's what people have had to do because of the lack of services to highlight each other. Like, I've seen posts up going, oh, someone's going on such and such a street, robbing the, you know, the little carburetors, whatever they're called. Like, oh, someone's going down this street, beware, the van thieves are about, you know, and they do the vans. So yeah, like that's, and I suppose you can get information out quicker. And I suppose with the police being underfunded, they're a bit more like, oh, I suppose it's a bit of a result. People can watch out for themselves, but it shouldn't be like that.
Wasn't there a group starting of like concerned parents and community people that are actually going out sort of when the sun goes down and just going for a walk together, you know, walking around the streets, acting as a deterrent, call it Parents on the Prowl or something like that. Like, you know.
There was during that the rioting, I remember people walking around then, years ago, when Tottenham got burnt down.
Oh, then Edmonton and all that.
Yeah, I remember that, people walking around then and stuff, like some semi-vigilante thing going on, but not recently.
Well, I mean, you've already got the pedo hunters and other groups like that are doing that kind of stuff. But I'm talking of something just more to act as a deterrent, because a lot of reports, I think you said it as well, RBM, didn't you, that you see more of this ethnicity of people coming out at night time as opposed to daytime. But if you
Yeah,
go out at night time, and
like
I've
in
heard this
my,
in a lot of towns. Yeah.
like for instance in Norfolk, Suffolk, well, especially Suffolk, there's there's not many migrants that way yet. I think if you look at sort of the migrant hotels, there's only one in the whole of Suffolk. I think, well, maybe a couple, but yeah. So you don't see them around often in the daytime, but then when I drove around at night at 11 p.m. or whenever it was, there were loads of them walking about. I was like, Jesus Christ.
There's been reports that they're moving in between hotels in vans at night time as well.
Yeah.
And I say all these reports in town centres of them lurking around on street corners and coming out at night time, and just being seen more at night time.
Yeah.
When we're all tucked up at home, watching our TVs, that's been forced to make everyone watch. Everyone's sitting at home all comfortable in their houses. You don't know what's running the streets at night time. I mean, I just think we need some sort of more of a people deterrent. Like we said, the CCTV is always off. Police aren't doing anything. We've got no trust there. We're going to have to basically put it on the people,
police takes how long? If you say, oh, there's an emergency, like, yeah, we'll be with you in about 50 minutes. Like, what the fuck's what's 50 minutes going to do? It's all going to be gone, done by then.
That's the thing, the response time. You go back to Lieutenant and they're calling the police for nose at Speaker's Corner that time. It seemed like they took ages to get there, didn't it, really? When you think they should be just round the corner or in the park at least.
I'm still waiting for him to come when my old neighbour threatened me with a broken broom. So, and she's moved out now. That's how long ago it was.
I don't know what the reason behind that is, actually, because that was at Speaker's Corner. It was broad daylight and this guy had a weapon. But when Ali Dawa had a go at nose at Leicester Square, the police were there within, I don't know, 1.5, 2 minutes from me being on the phone. I saw, like, I was sitting watching this all and I'm on the phone to the police and they were there, and there wasn't a weapon. Yeah, Ali Dawa had been physical. And I was like...
Yeah, I remember I was watching that as well, where he had to talk with the English kid, didn't he? And Nose was helping him. I remember.
Yeah, he was only 16 years old and Ali Dawa was being abusive towards him. It was child abuse, that,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. It was. I say it was just brilliant because Nose was basically being there to support the kid, wasn't he? And then
it was brilliant the way Nose handled it. I thought, it
was a good one. But yeah, no, you're right, exactly. And they were there really quickly, weren't they? So I mean, there's obviously something amiss here, and it doesn't leave us, with much faith in the police or the authorities. So we're just gonna have to do more people, power to the people, more of these demonstrations. I think. Peaceful demonstrations.
The thing is, it depends on how you deal with the police as well. Like, fortunately, knows what he's doing with them, so he gets things done. But if you're someone who gets in a bit of a panic, you're not practiced at thinking critically and stuff like that. So dealing with tricky situations like that, you could be triggered and whatnot. So you could say the wrong thing to the police officer, and that changes it entirely, where they're not as efficient as they should be, So, yeah, the police should this, but we should also this, but we can't when we're overworked, we're malnourished, all these other problems. There's a mental health crisis and all that. We're members of the public. We're supposed to be able to rely on the police, but we have our responsibility in society, in the community as well. But we can't when, there's so much, like, we're so not that well looked after as a nation.
Well, the thing is, on the reverse end of it, you could, stick your neck out, try to do some good, what you think's good, and on the arse end of it, you could end up getting in more trouble than the people, like the things you're trying to highlight.
Yeah, that's right. You say one wrong thing and that's it.
It could be perceived, even though you went in with your good intentions. It could be perceived another way, and before you know it, you're, locked up in the cell.
Oh yeah, that happens more often than not, I think.
Let me just go off and get a charger because I'm on low battery.
I had to tell one of my friends that they shared something, and the wording they used, I was like, "Take that down." I was like, you can share it, like you could put an eye roll emoji in that. But I said, the way things are now, you really don't want people knocking at your door, 15 mob handed at 2 a.m. in the morning to tell you that you're like malicious communications, come with us, or etc. etc.
Stop thinking wrong.
Yeah, it wasn't even that bad. It wasn't even that bad, but I just said I know the way that some people would take that. So just reshare it and just put an eye roll or put for FF. You know, just you can still send your message without getting yourself a night or a couple of weeks in the cells, or months, whatever it is. You've got to be careful. Like just for now, I believe in free speech, but I also believe in not pushing my luck to the point where I get locked up from a big gob. Do you know what I mean?
Well,
I
I
think
mean
the only
that's
thing.
why I joined. Okay.
Yeah, I'll just finish that and then bring it to you, Steve. I think the only thing that we need to be careful about saying is threatening to do someone harm. I think anything else should be on the table, you know, because your speech is merely an expression of what's going on in your mind. If you're not allowed to express what's going on in your mind, you're never going to develop. So we're going to end up being an infantilized nation like China, always being told by the state what to eat, think, speak, sleep, all the rest of it. Not human. It's just not human. It's anti-human. It's detrimental to us entirely. So I think the only speech that we should have laws about is threats of harm to others. That's simple. Go ahead, Steve.
Well, yeah, just based on the free speech and being careful what you say. I mean, I had that problem as well because I'm prone to saying the wrong thing, you know, even if I don't mean it. And yeah, so I always have to carefully choose my words and so on and so on. But unless you're blatantly inciting something, then you should be okay. But it's also one of the reasons that I decided that I will join the Free Speech Union, because they've been getting people off. Like some of these cases during the riots where people went down for posts, etc. They've got a lot of people off on that. And yeah, they are supposed to have your back. So I joined the Free Speech Union, and I even messaged them and I said, look, I'm a YouTuber. I speak about politics. You know, I say, you know, I'm not blatantly inciting, but what's the chances, you know, you can just get arrested for saying the wrong thing, and will you, you know, provide a solicitor, etc., if that was to happen? And they said yes, they would, you know, depending on what was said. But they said it's very, very, very unlikely that a lot of people will actually get arrested for posting stuff and saying stuff, as long as it's not blatant, direct incitement. So, you know, it's good to have that confirmed, but I also know that now that I have free speech on my back, I can say more without worrying too much, you see? Whereas before I was copying all these other people that were saying, like, you know, the correct demographic, right? Whereas now I just say Islam or Islamists or whatever. Whereas before I would say the correct, you know, the other demographic like people were doing. But now I feel more free.
When did you join that?
Probably about 6 weeks ago or so.
How much is it?
I think, I can't remember, it's about £8 a month or something. I think you can get it a bit cheaper. But yeah, I think it's worth having, just to know that you've got that security, you know. So you know you've got that help if you say the wrong thing. Like,
I think Simon B mentioned it. He's joined it as well, hasn't he?
Yeah. But that's like I say, it's not like I'm going to blatantly incite anything, because I wouldn't do that. But just feeling free to talk about Islam and stuff without worrying too much about speaking about it, without having to say correct demographic, you know, because you are allowed to discuss religions. You know, you are allowed to say Islam and discuss things. So, you know,
if we lose free speech or we can't discuss things, we're never going to move forward. I'm just looking at Zen there. I think she's.
You know what? You know what the problem is, don't you? There's a wasp in my studio, and it's it's a massive one, and it's left me alone. But every time you see me going like that, it's because it's flying. I'm trying not to scream.
Haven't you got one of those electrical bats?
Oh, I ain't messing with it like that. If you F with one of them things, it sends out chemical signals and it tells the others to come and F with you.
That's why it sends out the pheromones.
Do you know what the worst thing was? Just before I started, it was on the net. I opened the door. As I turned around, it's gone off. I was like, don't you do this to me. Don't you do this to me. And every time, I'm going to play it back, but you can hear this ominous, it's a big one as well. I want to let it out the window. I don't want it in here.
See, I know about the pheromones. See, I was standing next to someone at the Manchester protest, and a wasp landed on someone next to me, and someone swatted it and squished it. So I decided I'm going to move 20 feet away just in case it sends me up.
I know, because one landed on my head 2 summers ago. I didn't realise it was. I felt something. I've picked up like that, and it stung me right on the end of the finger, and my finger swelled up like that. It was like a big balloon.
Yeah.
It was so sore. Yeah, so I don't really want that. And this one's even bigger than the last one.
Yeah, no, I hate them.
Well,
I don't want it in my house.
I had about
I'm not going to spat it though.
1,000 spiders in my bathroom the other day. A false widow decided to come in and lay a load in the corner and in the other corner.
Ooh, hoover them up.
I came in, and luckily they hadn't spread, because you know if you touch them, they just go, whoosh, don't they? And they run everywhere, those little ones.
That's right.
So, yeah, I kind of followed it with the hoover. And
That's what I did with the hoover.
I found some more, and then I saw the bloody main one by the radiator.
Do you know what? I've got my Henry down there. I'll stick the pole on the end of Henry and he can hoover the wasp up. And then I'll stick the bag outside, open the bag, ta-da.
Oh, they'll send the pheromones even more if you
don't
capture
what the
them
army
live.
of wasps will come and get me now.
Oh, if you trap them live, they'll send out the warning signal.
I don't, but I've got this one's a big one. Plus, I don't want it stinging the dog because she's one of them. She likes to go up to bugs. I don't want it stinging her on the end of the nose. That's that'll be like £400 at the vets. No thanks.
Vincent does that as well. I always tend to leave the bumblebees alone because he likes to fix it.
Yeah, this is a big fat wasp. It's not a bee. Wasps are not friends. But I'll give it the swerve today, and if it just wants to exit stage left ASAP, we're sweet. No harm done.
That sounds good. I don't know if you lot want to finish up soon or not. I mean, I don't know if anyone wants to say anything else or talk about anything else. We've been going for quite a while.
Oh yeah, I just want to say. So today there was someone did a post, and it was the post of the girl that threw food at the woman and the baby when they were out in London.
Yeah, tell us more. I saw that.
On the post, I just put a comment. Considering I've lived in London for 4 freaking decades now, I'm entitled to my opinion. And I said, London has never been worse, in my opinion. That was the only. I said, I've lived here 40 years. I grew up in a vibing cultural melting pot where people, I said, the people got along majority of the time. And it's not like that anymore. Every time I go out now, I can guarantee you're going to see something negative. It's a right shit show.
That's what I mean. I remember those days back there when I used to live there, and
it was everyone. No one was the same, and everyone got on pretty much.
It was London as you know it, back in the old
that's
days.
what I grew up in.
But I moved out as they were coming in, and well.
It's not. And also, there's a lot of stuff going on as well. Like the powers that be making life a lot more difficult. Puts everyone more pressure, more stress, more lashing out. It's like it's very layered. It's like an onion and deep. But my point was, I don't care for what reason, because there's many reasons why it is, but London has never been worse. And I was going back and forward with this woman. What's really annoyed me is that I've gone back and checked now, and these people have deleted my freaking comments, because you can, on TikTok, you can only put a couple of sentences, and they've changed pretty much, they're trying to change the narrative of what I'm saying. My point is, for whatever reason, London has never been worse, in my opinion. And they're trying to, and I said, and I could talk to any of my neighbours from all 4 corners of the globe, and they'd all agree with me. But they cut that bit out, and they tried to change the narrative of what I was saying, and that's really pissed me off. So I'm going to make a video about it.
I tried bringing that up earlier, but yeah, you didn't elaborate. But I'm glad you are now.
Sorry.
But, no, that's the thing though. But yeah, they're censoring your free speech and making you out to look like a racist.
Yeah, because do you know, sometimes I feel like it was a fair point. Wasn't taking out on anyone. Wasn't pointing the fingers out. It was just a fair point of how I feel as someone who's lived here, and that's still a problem. That pisses me off. And then I'm very deliberate with my words. I stand on business of what I say. So don't delete my comments and try and change the narrative of what I'm saying. And then it also made it look like this other woman absolutely ruined me in the comments, and she fucking didn't. And that's really pissed me off as well. So
that's the thing. I mean, TikTok's always been too left-leaning for me. I mean, I asked Nick and that about his, the UKIP account. He said about he was doing well on his own TikTok. So yeah, so apparently when they cancelled UKIP's account on UKIP, he started his own one. And I think, has he got about 21,000 followers now already?
Well, last time I checked, he had about 8,000, so it's probably more now.
Yeah, I think it's about 20 something. So while that's going well, I think they're going to leave it as it is. If they come down on his account, then obviously they're going to try and.
Listen, it doesn't matter. As long as if you get violent, they'll probably try. The more you get, like with TikTok, they'll get people to mass reporting it. But if you appeal it and the beyond the AI looks at it and clears it, then it's a cleared video. You can't. It's not supposed to be able to go. You just got to be careful with the words. Like, I think he would have got a few more votes. I do agree with his Noose the Nonsenses campaign. I don't care what any nonsense from anywhere can get it. Bye. I'm up for that one.
I think a lot of people will vote for that one reason. I don't know how much of the country has gone so liberal though. I don't know. I don't think a lot of people are in that mindset to accept a referendum on that, whereas I think there is a lot of people on the other side that are. But if you look at Manchester and, you know, the Liberals and this and the other, I think there's more of them that wouldn't. Obviously, they just wouldn't, would they?
Well, then maybe if they did something and said, well, maybe they could, just for hypothetically, if you're okay with nonsenses, you can go up there and live with them over there then. And I don't think anyone would take the offer up. You and your family can go and live in harmony with all the nonsenses, the convicted nonsenses, and let's see how any of them change their mind then. Because I bet they wouldn't.
Definitely. I'm glad you're coming around and agreeing with more.
But we didn't come around. I've never, listen, I'm not going to get into it, but I've never in any set time of my life thought a nonsense should have the swerve of anything.
I meant coming around to more of UKIP's manifesto.
It's not that, listen, I said, no, I just made it very clear. I couldn't give two shits where the nonsense comes from, the homegrown, where if you're a convicted nonsense, done bad things to children, you can all get it. I couldn't care less. I'm at equal opportunities with the nonsenses.
Yeah, well, that is in the UKIP manifesto. So yeah, everyone who hasn't seen it, go and take a look.
Yeah, there needs to be
my nan and granddad said that.
No matter where they're from.
Yeah, my nan and granddad was like that.
And the easiest place to find them is amongst the left.
I can't hear, Lieutenant. Did you say something, Lieutenant?
Yeah, sorry, I didn't realise you couldn't hear me. I'm just saying there needs to be tougher sentencing on child abuse, basically. So I'm wholeheartedly agree with what Zen was just saying there. It doesn't matter where you're from, what your demographic is. If you've touched a Ben, you go to jail, you never get out of jail. Simple as. You can't be trusted because children should be allowed to be pretty much everywhere, aside from like adult places, right? You know, this is a world where children should be able to go along the street and not be sexually abused by being exposed to pride marches and all the nonsense that's all sexualization stuff. It's child abuse. They shouldn't be coming into contact with anything to do with that, let alone being touched by someone the wrong way. So if you've done that, then what you're doing is making the world that a child is born into and has every right to be in unsafe, and that they can't be there. That's out of order. It's just game over.
And the ones above it that have allowed it to happen. I like the way they're going
exactly that. Yeah.
There's always somebody above, and you've got to root them out.
Follow the entire chain of command.
Yeah, government, the police, whoever's involved, whoever's tried to cover it up. Like he says, you have to go through the whole line of it all and hold everyone accountable for it.
And even after years later, it's so dodgy that some of the information, like the files you get are still so redacted of all the information, even after all this time. Because obviously one thing leads to another thing, and someone will work it out. But even after all this time, it's still even years later now finding, from the diddlers of graves and information and cover-ups from even 100 years ago.
Yeah, well, 20 years ago easily. But I think focusing on Sammy Woodhouse and her work, and the prior inquiry that they decided to not look into, etc. There's so much that they need to go back to and dig people out for.
But even do you see these people that get caught with the images? They're hardly getting any sentences, even though I've seen one. He's been caught for doing actual physical things before, got load of images, couldn't keep his little nonsense self to himself and started making himself known on the live stream. Police go to his house. They give him a freaking warning before they went there. So the old dirty old, he got all his stuff out in the outside caravan and set the caravan on fire.
Well, where was that? What was that?
When he was doing, yeah. Well, no, it's the same thing. It's like they want to give it. Why would you give him a heads up? He'd been doing it for years and years and years.
There's a lot
to destroy the evidence, wasn't it?
There's a lot
and how convenient
as well, isn't there?
Yeah, he put all of his laptops, all of his phones, he stuck it in the caravan outside and set it on fire. And I don't even think he got in trouble for setting the caravan on fire.
Well, so I did a bit of work in digital networking. So every image that comes onto the web, it carries with it a number. You know what I mean? So it can always be tracked. It's like a digital ID for the photo. Do you know what I mean? So you can trace it back. Everyone that shared it, where it originally first came from. IP address, etc. And then everywhere it's been shared ever since. So it shouldn't be that hard for them to do it with all the technology they've got. You know what I mean? The money they're sending to Pakistan and Syria, they can spend on
But I tell you,
a
this is
proper
so weird.
inquiry and follow the evidence. And,
So many people on TikTok. There's a new thing. Like, say if I shared a video to you, like say when there's like a couple, and then the one who will send a video, and they'll be like, "Oh, the video was opened by such and such." And they're like, "Who's that?" And so many people have caught their partners like chatting to other people or talking to people they shouldn't. You could do that on the freaking TikTok. How come they can't see where this has been shared and that's been shared? Well, they can, can't
that's
they?
the thing. They're just like, they're obviously not doing it because so many of them are involved. I mean, it's going to come out, I think, sooner or later. Hopefully it will. The more of these protests, the more awareness that we raise for everything. And hopefully, I mean, look at Rupert Lowe trying, you know, he tried his
Yeah, that's
best.
if people actually turn out for these bloody protests.
I know,
Like, look at Manchester. Everyone shouts about saving our kids, stop the grooming, this and that, but no one turned out for that, and that was promoted all over the place as well. Well promoted.
We spoke to a local. He was on our side. He agreed with us, but he hadn't heard about it. And we asked him to come. We said, "Go get your family, get everyone, come back, support us." Oh, a lot of them are scared of losing their jobs. You know.
Yeah, that's bullshit. I mean, the fact is, you know, even what the left are doing, they should be scared of losing their jobs with their activism. Yet they build a bigger crowd. You know, and I said on the next reply, I said, you know, their chart, there are many more of us than you, should never become a reality. And the fact is, you know, it's like I think. Patrick Britain said, all these big YouTubers like Paul, etc., who are always straight on the news about anything done to the kids, crying with outrage. Do they turn up to these?
Yeah, no, they don't.
No, they don't. And it's like, you know, they're not setting a very good example. They don't even, you know, spread the message or promote that it's going on. So,
Do you know, that's a really good
I've
point,
I've lost a bit of respect for the likes of Paul and that for actually, you know, not even sharing that.
Yeah, no, you need to get out there and at least, I just think, make up the numbers. Or else all these people that don't believe it's happening or don't believe it's going on aren't going to know any different, are they? They're just going to believe the mainstream headlines, far right thugs, you know, come out against whatever, and they're not actually going to learn the truth, or they're not going to hear about it. So, yeah, more people need to show courage and actually come out and support.
Just saying, from what you just said, I just literally thought of something. There's someone I follow. They're always doing the cases about children and things. Never once have I ever seen this person ever out of their house doing any kind of activity. It's all because they got getting money from their videos and stuff. But never once have I seen them at a protest or seen a video of them at a protest. If you get what I mean.
Well, even with the losing the job thing, I mean, yeah, there's going to be some out there that are afraid to lose their job, but I think that is such a minority. I think people just can't be asked to go.
Well, no, I've only seen people that, like the guy, there's a Tesco worker that was shouting stuff rude, and apparently because he was wearing his work uniform and shouting.
Ben on wine.
Yeah, the thing. Then obviously that seems a bit silly to wear. If you're going to go and do things and start shouting obscenity things, even like I'm not picking either way. Wearing your freaking uniform, that's a very well known thing. It's just not really gonna. It was a bit of a silly idea, wasn't it?
No, but I don't think he put anything out of him wearing his uniform. I think
I've seen video. Oh, so what? I've lost my point now. What I was talking.
I've seen a picture since, but I think that picture came out after he was sacked.
Oh no! I've seen the video of you talk about there's I can't remember what my point was. I have to fucking record the live. It went out of the brain. Sorry. I'm on high alert for this wasp. It's not easy to keep a thought when I'm like the wasp's gone. Sorry. I'm sorry. I completely lost my train of thought. Sorry about that.
That's okay. I say we have been on for a while. I don't know if you wanna end it soon, everybody. Unless anyone else has got anything else they want to say. Lieutenant's gone to sleep.
No, I haven't gone to sleep. I was just listening. Yeah, I think he's pretty much covered it.
Yeah, that's how it was mainly to cover the stuff that we experienced in Manchester, and just to see if we can get our heads together and think of some ideas, you know, to try and do better or to help. I mean, I'm going to be doing a video with somebody local around here who's starting a karate class for women, so they can help protect and defend themselves. So that should be an interesting one. Might get them to chuck me on the floor or something.
I've seen a self-defense thing around on the old face thingy, like self-defense class for women.
But people are
6
trying, that's the thing. And I say that this person's trying as well. And she didn't have many people turn up. I mean, obviously money's tight and a lot of people might not be able to afford it. But considering of what's happening in so many cases that we're hearing about, there are people out there, that are trying to still do good and are trying to find solutions, for this problem that we have.
I think self-defense is certainly the way forward. Have you spoke to Bob? Bob the Builder from Speaker's Corner, Bob the Christian Bob.
I've tried to a couple of times. He hasn't really engaged with me. I do want
because
to have a chat with him, but yeah.
He's always talking about martial arts in the church. He's always trying to get more and more Christians to turn to martial arts, to start like looking after themselves and defending themselves, learning how, because he can see the threat coming.
He wants the Crusaders back.
Sorry?
Yeah.
He wants the Crusaders back, the fighting.
He did jog my memory.
No, he's looking at it from the perspective of the child rape gangs, basically, because he knows about that from his own hometown.
He did jog my memory. So, I think he has started something. I mean, I'm not in with his Zoom calls. I think he does Zoom calls and stuff like that. But I did watch.
Yeah, Bible studies. Yeah.
I did watch his interview with Based in Bougie, which was a really, really good one, actually. And I'm sure he mentioned in that something along the lines of what you said, Lieutenant, how he's getting these groups into church, to masculinize men and to get them back to, because he's more of
and to get women into it as well. Yeah, because I think it would be good possibly if you could interview him, because it would promote that idea. There's so many people that watch Bob, right, whether they're Christians or not. So it would be good for spreading that. And then I think you could take that to the people that who are already trying that, like where you were just mentioning there. Just try and get some kind of momentum on that conversation.
Yeah, no, so I'm definitely up for it. I do want to speak to Bob. He's very knowledgeable, isn't he?
Was he the one that was just on the Liam Tough show?
Yeah.
Every time it's a thing now, I'm going to do a little plug for just a lawyer.
You love Liam Tough, don't you?
Do you know what? There needs to be some more decent podcasts out there that I can actually listen to, because I like Liam. Yeah. I've gone off the other one, English one. I started trying to watch that Fox and the Father, but it's a bit much for me. Who else do I? There's that other guy who's a bit of a gangster. He's bald. You can't. Do you know? My boyfriend's bald, but apparently you can't call someone bald anymore. It's rude. Baldy.
Follically challenged.
Do you know? He's got this video. I'm the bald oracle.
I can watch Lawrence Fox in it. I can watch Lawrence Fox in a podcast, but that Calvin Robinson lost my vote a long way back.
Is that the different one?
Yeah, I think he's totally wolf in sheep's clothing, the way he treated me on Twitter a couple of years ago. Yeah, he's disgraceful.
Oh, really?
Actually,
great.
Yeah.
Well, no, we don't like him.
Where
now.
he is,
if I knew how
where he is in America now, they're forcing the humble pie down his throat. The church that he's in now, which is good, but still, wow, the conceit and arrogancy on him. There's no way he's a believer. No way.
I haven't heard anything
he's like him. One of the. He could easily go into being one of these super church leaders.
Oh, that scary man.
What he's in it for.
Scary one with his scary eyes.
Glasses.
I do not trust that guy.
You'll have to tell us about that on another show, Lieutenant. That's interesting.
Yeah, that's for another time.
Yeah.
I do actually remember the conversation there. So go ahead.
He would have been my nomination for the new Archbishop to save the church if I hadn't.
Oh no!
You need to investigate these people more.
Yeah. Yeah, well, he gets on bloody all the shows, doesn't he? He seems to be respected by Dan Merton and
Well, the thing is, he says the right thing. He says the right thing as far as these political movements are concerned. But once you start asking questions and start going into his practice of his so-called faith, which it isn't a faith, it's a religion, he's not doing it from a genuine relationship with God, as far as I'm concerned. Oh, and that makes me sound like one of these pious Bible bashing nut jobs, right? But I'm not a Bible basher. I've hardly read the Bible. I just go off my relationship, and I go off his fruit and what I've been on the receiving end of from him. Like, I see the way he treats other people as well. He's all too quick to pass people off as what was it he called me? Puritan. That was it. I'm a Puritan. I asked a question like, why is he praying to a dead woman, Mary? That's all I asked.
Oh.
And I was demonized. But yeah, we'll save that conversation for another
Well,
time.
funny enough,
Yeah,
Lieutenant David said you'd like. My son made me a little cushion. Can you see who it is?
Oh
Mary.
my God, that's gorgeous.
Little,
That's
yes,
dead cute.
I know.
it's Mary.
The little Mary.
It's only 8 months until Christmas, people.
I know I have to keep it hidden from the. I haven't got it out much because I have to keep it hidden from the dog in case she decorates it herself with little teeth marks. So I usually have to keep it hidden, but I got it out today to give you a show.
Yeah, I thought you'd like it, Lieutenant. That's all right. I've got a comment from the cellar here. I think my voice is going.
Is that Renton's having a little snore?
Can you hear him? Can you?
A little bit.
Yeah, I heard that as well. He's
Oh,
so cute. Is
sausage.
that your vibrator there, Dave?
Talking of vibrators, Lieutenant's got a new song out called Femi Doll.
Oh,
that was so funny earlier.
You couldn't take not being.
Sausage.
No, she couldn't take
Lady
it not being on the
down.
camera and just and seeing what I'm up to. She has to know what I'm up to every minute of the bloody day. I think you did.
Lady Di.
She had a very busy day yesterday, didn't you? You was being like, everyone loves you so much. You was getting so much kisses and cuddles, wasn't you? Worn out today, she was.
I bet she loved it. I bet she did. But I say I've had to close all my doors because of the dog, and it's very hot. The temperature's definitely gone up today, hasn't it? It's so hot in the sun. I was just sitting there a bit earlier on.
Love it. Hotter the better. I love it. I hate the cold. I love hot heat. Bring the heat.
Why are you closing the doors? Because of the dog?
I prefer the cold. Now Matt's upstairs as well, so yeah.
This is my island in the sun. Like, hotter the better.
Well, I see the
I hate the
opportunity
heat.
with the heat wave. I thought that's it. It's now's the time to transplant the baby plants to outside, like the squash, the cucumber, and stuff like that. Whereas if it was a bit cold, I'd still be waiting. So I'm glad of the heat.
With my Chumbawamba squashes, I'm going to wait till May because I tried them last year and I think my mate put them out early and it shocked them. And I put mine out at the start of May and they seem to do really well. So I don't know if that's the same with all squashes, but that's what I'm going to do.
I want to try and grow a loofah in my greenhouse. That's my, but you know the loofahs you can grow, like they're like a marrow, but it dries out and it's a loofah. I really want to grow a loofah in my greenhouse because it's probably the only place I could ever do it if it gets hot enough in there. We shall see. Might just be tiny, might be a sponge that big, but even so, I'll use it.
That'd be good. I'll be interested to see how that comes out. I'm not growing a loofah.
I'll swap you a loofah for a Chumbawamba.
Yeah, no worries. You can have one.
I love that.
Those Chumbawambas are absolutely amazing. They're massive. Those things that you showed me on the photos, like Dave. Chumbawamba things.
That was the first time.
Like, what on earth is that? Amazing.
You can use it in your song Femidom, Lieutenant.
Oh dear God.
Use some images of the Chumbawamba.
You're gonna have me write a song about sex toys now. My God.
That'll be a summer hit.
You can use it. You can use it in Rapture if you want.
It'll go through Soho well, mind, won't it?
Yeah.
Whenever I hear Chumbawamba, I think I get knocked down, but I get up again.
That's a good one. Chumbawamba, brother.
It's actually a Trombocino Gigantica or something, but I prefer Chumbawamba. It's just the name that stuck. That was the first group.
I had one year I grew these things called quakermelons. They're basically a cucumber in the shape of a tiny little melon, like a grape.
They're really nice to grow.
Yeah, they're not really, because they're full of seeds and bitter.
Yeah, no, I wouldn't eat them, but I mean they're quite
Well, I
pretty
was
in
hoping I was going to have a
gardens.
lovely little snack. I didn't. It was horrible.
The plant and the fruit looks really like
They're
quite.
cute. Yeah, they are really cute, and they grow really well. But they taste horrible. It's just a ball of hard seeds with bitter juice.
Got a cucumber, isn't it?
Watermelon, yeah. Watermelons.
Cucumber. I think you can like bung it in a smoothie anyway and strain out the
Oh,
seeds.
it's so bitter. It's literally just a ball of seeds.
Yeah, just add some natural honey, you'll be fine. I'll sweeten it up.
So, do you know what it looked like eating an acorn? That's what it was. Like,
Don't do that, you'll die.
you have to salt them first. Do you know that?
No,
You can eat
yeah.
them. You have to
You
salt
can't.
them, blanch
No.
them, and then you can eat them.
No, you have to leach them first or you'll die.
Yeah, that's what they call blanchings, leaching, same thing, isn't it?
No, blanching is where you do it in like hot water quickly. Leaching, you've got to leach them for about 24 hours.
Yeah, you got to do it in salt water.
In a river, yeah, so it gets the toxins out, and then you've got to smash them up, then leach them again, and then
They
you
do it in The Walking Dead, but I suppose they've got nothing else to do, really.
and then you
fight
might be able
zombies.
to, grind it up to make some bread patties or something.
Yeah, she made acorn cookies.
It's sort of like one of those last resorts of a survival food.
Oh, well. They would just be like a nut, wouldn't they? Really?
You'd have thought so, but yeah, no,
A
unfortunately.
bitter nut.
You can watch Ray Mayer's Bushcraft on YouTube where he explains it.
I've watched them all.
Well.
I love them all. My favourite survival program is called Dual Survival with Cody Lundeen and the army guy. And it's like a hippie guy and the army guy, and they see who's best at survival. I love that show. It's a shame it ended.
Doesn't sound too bad. But anyway, I'm going to end
Survival.
it now, everybody.
All right, yeah, because I've got to sort this wasp out.
We've been on for quite a while, but thank you everybody for coming. Thank you everybody in the chat. Please hit that like, thumbs up if you haven't done so already. And do you lot want to take your turn at saying hello? Or goodbye even?
We'll definitely say goodbye, not hello.
Goodbye,
Thanks
good
for
night,
having us,
everyone.
Dave. And good night and God bless everyone. Zen, Steve, Dave, everyone in the chat. Thanks for having me.
All right,
Yeah,
no
cheers
worries.
all. Good night, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye, Roman. Thanks for coming, buddy. I'll see you again soon.